What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade on Analysis Playground exclusively on YouTube, going live on there, talking about the NBA draft and also other things that's going to happen during the NBA draft. Of course, this is going to be exclusively on there, like I said before, and we're going to see who's going to be the number one pick and what direction your teams and my team, the Celtics, choose to go towards info, and it should be fun. And this is going to be an hour plus long event on this channel, and it should be a lot of things happening. So I'm gonna try to cover it all to the best of my ability, and that's all I can guarantee for you guys. So should be fun, should be interesting. I know y'all see the Jordans, got to support Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Hoop culture is what we about on the Analysis Playground, and let's see. These guys have sacrificed so much, gave so much. This is one of my favorite times of the year, one of my favorite days of the year. You have to do so much to be a basketball player. You got to dodge injuries. You have to dodge people appointments and people you love. They have to miss some things too, and you have to miss some things also because this is your dream, this is your goal, and this is what you're trying to accomplish, and this is how you get into the league and get paid some good money, plus get to a roster that can possibly make you the star or even a good player on the team that can possibly win the title, like we just seen with Chet Fetch Holmgren and Jalen Williams, who was drafted in the same draft and really turned around the Thunder to be a championship team. Other than that, we'll see what happens with the draft. They're about to pick the number one player. Everybody expected to be Cooper Flag. Other than that, we'll see if it's official, and we'll see what happens. We'll wait on that right now. There's a lot of good players I like in this draft. Very deep. Got a lot of guys with good skill sets. Got guys that have upside to be stars. Even later in this draft, they'll have a crazy amount of bigs, in my personal opinion, when it comes to 7 footer that can protect the paint or even be versatile. You got Malawaj, you got obviously Derek Queen, and that's really about it that you can look at in this draft. Um, and it should be exciting and fun to see. So, um, I'm going to continue to talk and narrate this whole thing as it continues to go down. This is going to be a crazy night for Analysis Playground, obviously, having this big event on TV and to be able to spend time with the fans, answer as many questions as I can answer, and try to break down everything and how players fit and what they can do. And then that can lead us into summer league so you can see it for yourself if you wasn't watching these players in college. So that should be a cool thing um, to go about. And the peak is in so far for the Dallas Mavericks. So far, it looks like they're going in with Cooper Flag. We'll just make sure that that's official, which should be done in a couple of seconds. And then we're going to see what the next teams are going to do. Is a lot of teams that already have a lot of talent on their roster. Will they add guys that's going to play the same position? Will they trade down and get somebody that fits a different position? Will they trade some of their veteran players to get some young players? That's the whole purpose of the draft, to figure that out and find that out. Well, 3,133 population in Newport, Maine. That's crazy how small that is. But he still made it out and became a star in this world. And it's a beautiful thing to see that hard work pays off. And it'd be good to see him achieve that number one pick that goes with you for the entire career and the rest of your life. especially if you can live up to that hype of being the number one pick. And even if he can do it with the Mavericks, that'd be even bigger. But to lose Luka, to get AD, and to add Cooper Flag in there with a bunch of veterans around them, and the fact that they also read up Kyrie, that could be very good in the future for what this team is trying to do after losing one of the greatest players that we have in the league today. But that's how it goes. That's a long walk for Adam Silver, even though he's tall. So I don't know why it took him that long. If you do, y'all can ask any question. I answer it on the live stream. We're going to be going live for about over an hour because that's how long the draft usually takes. So this should be a fun, interesting thing the entire day. Cooper Flag, that body, that shooting, that defense, that ability to get to the basket, dribble, put the ball on the floor, get out in transition. A guy that competes and competitive, you can't really beat that. Especially because that's a need for the Mavericks in their starting lineup. And that's something that they basically can get for free since they won the draft lottery. So that's something that's crazy how lucky they ended up getting to get a player of this caliber just to plug right in. But it's reality right now. They say the pick is in, and we still haven't seen them pick anybody yet, which is crazy. Everybody waiting outside to see if Cooper Flag gonna be drafted. It is nice out here in Wisconsin too, so we could be outside if we wanted to be, and it would be funny because it is that nice weather-wise, basically everywhere this day. They was 39 and 43. They finished 10th in the Western Conference. That's still good considering that how many injuries that they ended up having to their roster. And even Luka was injured for a lot of the season too. And then they ended up losing Kyrie, and Anthony Davis got injured too. Let's see who goes number one. Cooper Flag, his goal came true. He's the number one pick, the best player available, the best player in college this season. And it's very good for him to realize his goal coming true for him. And now we get to see what he's going to really do in the NBA. And hopefully he can have an injury-free season so we can see how good this man really is at the highest level, which is the NBA. And that's going to be a fun thing to watch and keep track of for his entire career. And now it's official. The guy that we all felt like was the best player you can get is the first player off the board. And that's something that he should be very, very proud of. So look at all that love he getting from putting in all that work. Cooper Flag, the Naismith College Player of the Year out of Duke. They know him for having some great talent down there in that college. Now he's done with college for right now, and now he can focus on the pros. It is important to go back and try to get your degree too, just to say you did that too. So it gives you something else to strive for. It makes you a better human, makes you smarter, make you wiser, make you learn some more things that can help you in the future. Why not try to be the biggest and best human you can be, even mentally? So we'll see what he does with that in the future too. This is what he wanted to be, a basketball player. 19 points, 48 from the field, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Those are crazy numbers considering the shot clock that they play with and the time that they play. That's a lot of things that he did on that court. And he makes the teammates better and he makes them feel good playing alongside of them. And that's all you can really try to do when you're the star player and you're the player everybody's talking about. Spread some of that love and spread some of that shine with your teammates. You got to do that. And then they showing all these things that make him so great. It's going to be amazing to see what he does. Summer League is just the start of showing you how much work you still have to put in to be the best in this league. You did it in high school, you did it in college, now you got to do it in the NBA. That's going to be one of the toughest things he have to do. And we're going to see if he's able to accomplish that goal too. And I don't see a reason why he can't. I just hope he can stay healthy. Number 1 pick, Cooper Flag. An amazing feat to accomplish. Not too many people can do that, and he has done it officially. Now, Dylan Harper, will he go number 2, or will the Spurs go in a different direction? Obviously, they have so much talent, so much youth, and so many guys that plays that position anyway. Now we're going to see if they're able to use Dylan Harper as a trade chip, or use that number 2 pick as a trade chip, or will they just draft best player available and figure everything else out in the off seasons today, in the present time, and in the future? We got to see. He's the second youngest player to go number 1 at 18 years and 186 days. The youngest one was LeBron Ramon James at 18 and 178 days. We're just thrilled that he did love it, and he got to this moment. It's incredible. All right, we've got the whole contingency here. We need to set the record straight, guys. Did Mom actually lose to Cooper in the last game? No, it's not a loss. It was a timeout in the game. It's just been an extended timeout. Next, so that's the way it goes. I think it goes to you, Mom, for helping get into this moment. Congratulations, Cooper. Thank you. Enjoy the night, you guys. Back up to you. Monica, thank you so very much. Duke knows a thing or two, Jay, about drafting players number 1 overall. Zion Williamson, Paulo Banchero, Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving, Elton Brand, most number 1 overall selection from any school. With those 5 guys, that's real cool to see how much success they have had with the players that they recruited. Unfortunately, they didn't win the championship with a lot of those guys, even though they was really good to bring on to show you how hard the game of basketball can be when you're trying to find a way to build around such great players, and it still has a good chance of it not being all the way successful. And there go the jersey, the 32. People going to be buying that jersey for many years, hopefully. And the San Antonio Spurs, their pick is in. They was 13th in the West, and they missed the playoffs in the play-in tournament. They do have picks number 2, which is the one that they're about to select now, and they also have the 24th pick. They do need a lot of things because their roster is a lot of guys playing at the same position. We're going to see if they take somebody high or take somebody low, or if they trade it for somebody else. And we're going to be hearing those type of stories throughout the entire draft. So get used to it on this live stream. It's time to send it back to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to see who will be joining Victor Wembanyama and company. With the second pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper does go number 2. He's a really, really talented guy. The man can score in the paint really good, very strong, very good handle, good burst. Good feel for the game, good understanding of the game. Can play really well with any big, can make the right pass and score in a lot of different situations. You just hope his perimeter shot improves a little bit more. And even without having a perimeter shot, the guy is basically unstoppable in a team setting or even one-on-one in general. This man is the real deal. He's the highest drafted Rutgers player in modern era. James Bailey was the number 6 pick in 1979, but they ain't number 2 like he is. But we will see the biggest story besides Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper is going to be Ace Bailey. Where is he going to go? Will he go lower? Will he go at number 3? We don't really know, but we're going to find that out not too long after this. And like I said, Dylan Harper, he's the real deal. The man can really play, and he makes the game look very, very basic. And it's because he abuses the fundamentals of the game. And the man is really good, even at rebounding the basketball for his position. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's fearless, and the man can really play. A legitimate 6'4", got the body of an NBA player already before he even touched the NBA basketball court. And we're going to see him be NBA ready to score double figures in the league, regardless of what his role is in the NBA. I got to vouch for him on that. The man is amazing at the game of basketball. So the Spurs get another great pick, and they have did a good job of scouting because there's no way. And I said that in my mock draft, you can pass up on a guy like Dylan Harper. He's legit, and he's under his understanding of the game and how it should be played only helps a guy like Wimby. Only helps his teammates, and he can just be plugged in basically any modern day system, and he will have success. That's something that I'm going to guarantee, especially if he can stay healthy for a majority of his career. He should be able to be a Hall of Fame level player um, easily. Easy money to bet on that guy. But you can say the same thing about Cooper Flag. And now, since the two best players is off the board, um, his brother looks similar to him. They have the same hairstyle too.
Man, I'm feeling everything, man. All the emotions mixed in one bucket. From crying to laughing to being happy, everything, man. Just feel everything, man. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Maria, he talks often about how important you have been and the entire family to his basketball journey. What has gotten him here?
His flat out love for the game, his determination, his humility, and just his hard work, day in, day out.
You're headed to San Antonio, an organization that boasts the last 2 rookies of the year. Victor Wembanyama is a specimen unto itself. As a point guard, what makes you most excited to join that organization?
Man, I mean, I think when you play with a bunch of great players, it just brings the best out of you. So, I mean, they got a great group of young
He's
players
right.
there. I'm just ready to get in there and just make an impact any way I can with them guys.
Brian, while we got you here, what do you say to younger brother tonight?
Savor the moment, man. Just live in the moment, enjoy it. You know, he worked so hard for this, and we all been there for him every step of the journey, and we're so proud of him. And now,
Every step of the journey.
Spurs fan now.
Harper family, Dylan, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
On to the number 3 pick now. Philly has a lot of things that they can do because they have an NBA playoff roster if everybody's healthy. And that's going to be the toughest thing for Philly to figure out what they really need and what direction they really want to go in this draft, because we do know that they have an all-star in Tyrese Maxey. They have an all-star in Joel Embiid. They have one of the best wings in NBA history in Paul George. And all we can say is they still do have Quentin Grimes. They still have some good depth. They have a little bit of cap space to be able to get some guys on the cheap to join their roster just in case they don't hit it big in this draft. They do have the 35th draft pick in this draft too. So if they don't get the guy that they want, they can trade down and get a pick and get somebody else, or they can just pick the guy that they feel is right for them. So Philly is going to be in a situation where they got to figure a lot of these things out, because if their guys are going to be able to play more than they played last year, they're going to be a legitimate team in the Eastern Conference. No Dame, no Tyrese, no Jason Tatum. They have a chance to be a legitimate team in the Eastern Conference because of that. But they had their injury problems. Now them teams are having their injury problems. So now we have to see what they're going to do. But they saying facilitator 3 and D wing. We'll see what direction they end up going in. I did hear a lot of people say that they want BJ Edgecombe I heard a lot of people say the best guy for the upside and ability to be a superstar is Ace Bailey. Both of those things are true because you can have a 3-and-D guy like Edgecombe that can defend and also he make a three and also get out in transition or cause transition things. But they do have, like I said, Quentin Grimes. They do have Jared McCain, who are young guys that can already play and already can score and already can take over a game. And can VJ Edgecombe do that? I would say no at this point in his career. But then again, we already have that part figured out when it comes to his game, but he does have the upside. But the Philadelphia 76ers, their pick is in, so we're going to see who they decide to go with at that number 3 pick.
Is a wing that you would liken to a young Victor Oladipo or a young Dwayne Wade at the same point in their careers when they were 19 years old. He plays at both ends of the floor. I think VJ Edgecombe is the best athlete in this draft, the best shot maker, and especially contested shot maker.
Well, that'd be interesting because if you feel like he's the best athlete in the draft, he still has to round out the rest of his game, which he has the ability to probably do. But I just don't see it being done in Philly. They just have too many guards and too many wings. And you want to go with the guy with the highest upside, too. So I don't see why you wouldn't do that because you can even use that as a trade asset to be able to get a player that you want in the future, even not that far from the draft or even tonight. So that's something that they have to have in the back of their mind. And we know Daryl Morey always thinking about how to make the best money worth deal that he can get as much as he can. And he's made a name in that. So Philadelphia ended up selecting VJ Edgecombe. So they do go with VJ at number 3. People had him going in that range. He accomplishes it by being a number 3 pick out of Baylor. That's really good for him. But I think VJ is a good player. Like, I'm not going to lie. I just feel like Philly is just stacked at that position that they didn't really need to make it. But if that's who you feel is the better pick, if that's who you feel is the better player, who are we to question that? You know more than we do. And he wants it more. And for him to go number 3 is something that we didn't see coming 2-3 months ago, but it's something that we've seen coming the last couple weeks before the draft. And obviously, DeAndre Ayton ended up going number 1 a couple years ago in that Luka Doncic Trae Young draft.
In the Bahamas, his head coach Scott compared him to Russell Westbrook, being that way of his athleticism, and said he's going to be a problem here for years to come. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned his experience with the Bahamian national team. Buddy Hield called him a high-character kid, fun to be around and fun to play with.
So this ended up being a good pick for them. He has a lot of potential, a lot of upside. You might as well fill out that body a little bit more. But if he improves his handle and he improves his pull-up game and can be consistent with his spot-up three-point shooting, he can be a really, really good pick for the Sixers. The man can fly. The man can use the athleticism even defensively. And that's something that they looking forward to having. That's something they're looking forward to getting. And, you know, a lot of people saying BJ is a guy that you're either high on or you're a little low on. But that just shows you how raw his talent is and how much more room he has for growth and improvement on his game. But Philly sees what they want to see, and they know what they're getting. And it's just going to be fun to see how this man develops and how he plays. And it's going to be some highs. There's going to be some lows on a guy like this. But you just hope it all balances itself out as his career continues to go forward. Some people like him as a Victor Oladipo type of comparison. A guy that couldn't really shoot that much, couldn't really do too much offensively, but figured out how to be a two-way player and a decent ball handler and a decent combo guard that ended up becoming an all-star, all-NBA caliber player in his career before it was over. Even though he did get injured and it ruined his career very fast, at least he was able to make it to the top before he ended up getting to the bottom. And that's what you always want to see from any player. Obviously now Charlotte's on the board. They was 19-63. They're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need a really strong player right here. And that's going to be crazy if they go where I think they're going to go. But this pick shouldn't take that long to figure out. You got Trey Johnson on the board, Con Kanipa on the board, Colin Murray on the board. You got Ace Bailey still on the board. You got Noah on the board. You got Kyman on the board. Jeremiah Fears is a guy that some have going high. Some have people have him going lower. I think Fears could be good for him because he's a point guard that knows how to run the pick and roll and things like that. I think that's important for their team. They need more passing. They need more structure. Just getting another prospect is something that they can do too, because obviously the higher the upside, the more they can fit with the young talent that they already have on their roster. So that's something that I would definitely have to say makes a lot of sense for them.
I spent countless years just sitting there watching draft, bro. So I don't know what to do, man.
How proud are you of yourself? Proud. Super proud. Like you said, we came from nothing into everything. Everything to the world.
1 in a million chance of being an NBA player. They went from nothing to now they got a millionaire son and a millionaire brother. But they loved him before all the money came with him. Now he gonna make so much money he ain't gonna know what to do with it. It's a blessing to be in the position that they are in, but they work for it. They deserve it all, and that's something that we can't argue about. We can't really diss them on because that's just the truth. So we're gonna see what the Hornets go. They got some good players still on the board that can really help them turn that franchise possibly around. LaMelo Ball is hungry to be winning in the NBA, something that he hasn't had too much success with since he's been an NBA player and since he's been drafted. James Wiseman has success. Anthony Edwards has had success. He's waiting for his success besides his individual success. Obviously, he became an all-star player, so that was a good thing that he was able to accomplish. Obviously, you want to be a Hall of Famer, you need to get more, and he needs to stay more healthy, but they also need more players to help him be able to have a easier weight on the amount of stuff he has to carry for that team and the amount of things he has to do for that team for them to be able to win. But Brandon Miller is a real good player. Obviously, Mark Williams is a real good player. If they decide to keep them long term, they also have Miles Bridges. He's really good. They're going in the right direction. Now their pick is in. We're going to see the direction they want to go in when it comes to this draft with their first pick. They're saying they need perimeter scoring and defensive-minded guards. It's hard to find those, especially because VJ Edgecombe is gone. Now you have to find a guy that you have to teach defense to, and hopefully he buys in while still being a good offensive player. That's going to be the thing.
Just would like to see a little bit more. 3-32 without LaMelo this season. Brandon Miller missed 55 games, 45 different starting lineups here. There was just a lot of turnover here in the first year under Charles.
Trying to establish a coaching, right? Coming from the Boston Celtics, he was bringing like what winning looks like, what a winning coach matters, like holding guys accountable. We saw him go back and forth a little bit with LaMelo Ball this season, right? Actually, at times he actually benched him, right, for not, holding himself accountable on the defensive side. So that's trying to move in the right direction. I believe he is the guy for them to move in the right direction. That's what they do.
What do you think is best fit? Well, we talk about culture. Immediately what comes to mind is Continental. I don't know if you feel the same as culture. Making winning plays doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's extremely talented here. I think it's a great fit. And being
They go Con Knipple, which people didn't really expect them to do. I didn't expect the Charlotte Hornets to go Con Knipple. He's from Wisconsin, so I seen him at the Bucks game. That's a random thing, but it actually happened. He's a good player though. The guy can shoot. He's a competitor. He's going to go out there and make things difficult. He's going to spread that floor out. You got Brandon Miller. You got LaMelo. They can shoot the three ball. They can handle a little bit. He's going to be able to knock down layups in transition. If they can get steals and blocks or just long range shots, rebounds, and get outlet. So not the greatest guy with the upside play, but a guy that understands his game, knows what he brings to the table. He's still growing. He's still improving. He's still learning. And we're going to see what he becomes for them. He's a really good player. So they went with more of a guy that fits instead of a guy that has the crazy upside. So we knew that Con Knipple will be in the top 7, top 10. He obviously goes 4th. You can count on him to give you double figures. I think you can say that about all 4 of the starters in this draft. They all can be double figure guys right away in the NBA, given the minutes, given the opportunity. I think that's something that even Con Knipple can do. If you leave him open from 3 or you leave him coming off screens, he can catch and let that thing fly. And he can get hot, he can get on fire, and he can do a real, real good job of putting the ball in the basket. And the Charlotte Hornets, they just got to be unselfish, and they just got to keep the ball moving. And if it finds him, he can definitely score at a high level. So I like this pick. I like what they're trying to build. I like what they're trying to do. He's tough-nosed, and he is a guy that likes to win. And he's willing to sacrifice his body. He's willing to play as hard as he needs to try to accomplish that goal. So I like it. I like this pick. I like this pick for Charlotte. And now we got to see what the Jazz get. The Jazz got a lot of talent on their roster. They're not really missing that much. They don't really need that much. They just need to find a way to win basketball games with the talent that they have and the guy that they're going to add to this team. Don't forget they have the 21st pick in the first round too after this pick, so they still have another chance to get somebody that can fit a role on their roster, even though they're a team that has a lot of good guys on that team. So the best guys that's available, in my opinion, for a team like the Jazz is probably Jeremiah Fears. He's lanky, he's tall, he can be just as good as Isaiah Collier. Do you want to play with Collier a little bit longer? What you want to do with Keontae George? He's a guy that can score. He's a guy that can put the ball in the basket. They still have Lauri Markkanen, who's a guy that's ready to play. He's an all-star caliber player. We seen that 2 years ago. And he can also help with the rebounding a little bit because, you got Walker Kessler in that paint. He's a good player to do have Lipowski too, I believe. So they don't really need too much. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction they go in with this number 5 pick. But this Utah pick is going to be essential to what they're going to be trying to build in the future. You can say that about all the picks in the top 7-ish because a lot of these teams do need help to change the trajectory of their franchises because a lot of these teams have been losing for a lot of years, and now they're trying to go, obviously, in a different direction, trying to win more games. I do think, do they go with the guy with the highest upside? Do they go with the guy that can help them right away? That's going to be something that's interesting for them. They can go with Ace Bailey too because he is a guy that can hit perimeter shots and also have length. He was a guy that actually said that he was on the list of teams that he would like to go to. It can be a Cooper Flag-like situation where you have a lot of talent with you and you can just raise your level of play, raise how you fit with them, and then find a way for you to play off what they can do. And we know for sure Ace Bailey can shoot a three. We know for sure he can get out and transition and get a layup or a dunk and rebound. We know for sure he can handle the ball a little bit and hit a mid range. They need a guy like that too. Their pick is in, so we're going to see what direction they choose to go in. But you also got some bigs on the board right now that you can select. And if that's the direction you want to go in, you can do that because they might not want to pay Walker Kessler because they do have abundance of so many different positions too that's already filled. Now they need to learn how to play together. Now they need to learn how to play off of each other, and they need to learn how to play defense. If they can do those type of things, then the Jazz can possibly be back in the playoffs. That's the whole purpose of the draft anyway, is to right wrongs and get things corrected and get things fixed. Put some duct tape on some things too, because it's not going to be done in 1 year. So that's just one of their goals that they should have after this draft. Like, we're not really missing too much. We're not really too far behind in talent, but we still need to find a way to get the best team that we can formed after this year. So some people like Trey Johnson. The guy can shoot. He'll be another good pick. If you like Con Knipple, you'll like Trey Johnson. Simple as that. One is just a little smaller than the other, which does make sense, and it does come up sometimes. But the Jazz, they saying worst record in the NBA. That's a terrible thing to claim. That's a terrible thing to have under your resume, but it happens to every team eventually, I guess. And now we're going to see who they choose to pick. Their pick is in. Karl Malone and John Stockton is rubbing their hands right now to see what they get to see in Utah. So Ace Bailey goes 5 like he wanted to go. This was a team that was on his list of places he would like to go. He's still a top 5 pick. That's still high. We knew that he wasn't going to drop too far down, but we knew that he might not go number 3. So he didn't go number 3, and he didn't go to number 7 or 8. So he ends up going 5th to a good team with a lot of support around him, a lot of shooting around him, a lot of space for him to be able to create shots for himself or to be able to get open so he can put points on the board. So he's going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year if he puts in the work and understands what he needs to do and be unselfish a little bit more. If he does those things, he can have a lot of success. And this Utah team, although their record was terrible, they do have a lot of guys that can play. Playing together was a problem, but individual talent they have figured out. And Isaiah Cutler is an unselfish point guard that's always looking to find his teammates, whether they're cutting, whether they're in transition, or whether they're in the half court at the 3-point line or coming off a screen, which Ace Bailey can do at a high level, especially if he continues to put in work on that jump shot. So the rebounding he can help out with, the defense he can help out with, the ability to be a combo forward is going to help them out a lot. And this is a guy that if they don't want to go to Lauri Markkanen, they don't want to go to Isaiah Collier, they can get him the ball and he can create his own shot and put the ball in the basket. And that's something that they didn't have. Now they do. So this was a good pick for them. And it was a good pick for him because he wanted to go there. And he still gets paid some good money on his rookie contract because he went to in the top 5. So I consider that the win-win for Ace Bailey. You got exactly what you wanted, and you got in the situation you wanted, and you went to a team that wants you. So it all adds up. And now he just got to stay healthy and continue to put the work in. They got him here and do a little bit more overtime too, so you can become one of the better players in the league, like you believe you can be and you think that you should be. So now we got to see if it's going to be reality for him in a place like Utah. Washington, they're on the board. They got rid of Jordan Poole to get CJ McCollum. They also got Chris Middleton. They also got Marcus Smart. This is a team that needs a lot of help. Like, this team was one of the second worst record in the NBA. So they're 18-64 last year. I don't see much of that changing, but I think they just need to go with somebody that can help Alexandre Sarr and Bub Carrington. Those are the guys they're building around. Those are the guys that they're looking forward to having for a long period of time. That is going to be something that we know going into this pick. This is the highest pick that they're going to get tonight. unless they choose to trade down, which we don't know if that's what they're going to do yet until it's announced. I do understand that the direction is a little confusing for people that likes the Wizards because of the moves they just made. They also do have the 18th pick in this draft too. That can still be a quality pick because this draft is a little deep. But the Wizards, to me, they still have a lot of good players on the board right now. They can go in a lot of different directions with guards. They can go with a big, and all of it will make sense with the roster that they have right now. I look at it like they can't really do wrong in this position unless they take somebody that we have at 10th or in the 20th range. If they take any of these top 10 players, even on the ESPN list, they'll be straight because you want to draft the best talent that fits, or you want to draft the best talent that's available. Simple as that. That's to break it down the easiest way. And the players that they can get in this range, they can't mess it up. You know what I mean? They just can't do that. And I look at the 6th pick as a good pick because you look at Conka Nipples all off the board already. So you can go with a Trey Johnson. You can go with a Jeremiah Fears. You can also go with a Kaman off the board if you need him as a big that can protect the rim and set some good screens and do probably even some dribble handoffs. They really can't go wrong at all with whoever they pick. Now, when they get to that 18 pick, then they're going to have to start scratching their heads and start figuring out what they want to do and what they need to try to do to be able to turn this franchise around. And the draft is the best way to do it because, like I said before, the Wizards don't really get high caliber free agents. They don't. So they're going to have to get majority of their core from a draft. And that's why they got Jordan Poole. But the sad part about it is they got rid of him quickly. And he still didn't go to a good team really either because we don't really know what the Pelicans really are right now because of all the injuries that they usually sustain, even to their best player, Zion Williamson. So I think that the Wizards, they're going to have to make a smart decision right here. They're going to have to make an educated decision. But it really ain't going to affect them into the 18 pick, which is something that they have to wait a little bit on. So I'm liking the picks that they can get right now. It's still about 10 players in this draft that can really help a team. Once you get to that point, then you're just drafting off potential and guys that can possibly help you 2 to 3 years from now if they develop into good role players or if they're going to be the 8th or the 9th guy off your bench. That's what you're going to be mostly looking at lower in this draft. But the Washington Wizards, their pick is in, so we're going to see who they go with right now. So that's going to be a fun thing to watch and fun thing to see. So let's see what direction they choose to go in with their pick in a couple of seconds. Not the craziest thing right now left on the board. So we got a lot of mixtures of players that they can go with. And we're going to see what decision they choose to make and who they're going to be committed to for the next couple of years. The Wizards are really making some questionable moves the last 2 years. And that's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out. They're getting more and more picks to increase their chances of being a playoff team in the future. Then we're just going to see if they're actually going to be able to be a good team for a long period of time, or will they just be a team that's going to just try to make the playoffs and that's it, which they have a bad habit of doing, but it just shows you how hard it is to be great in this league, even if it's for a short period of time, because anything can happen, including injuries or even guys just not wanting to play there for a long period of time. So the Washington Wizards, they ended up picking Trey Johnson, which makes sense. He's a Ray Allen type of player, in my personal opinion. Can move on and off screens, can knock down threes. A solid defender for his position. We're gonna see if that body gonna be able to hold up against the NBA players and their size and their strength being even to his. But he has the length, he has the touch, he has the IQ, he has the ability to be a really good player in this league. He wears that number 20 jersey. If you know me, you know I love that jersey, number 20, one of my favorite numbers. If I was in the NBA, that would be my number, as a lot of you people already know. Um, he did get 19 a game, almost 20. I know he would like to get that 20 look a lot better than that 19.9. I can tell you that much, but gotta take it. It's either you get it or you don't. Um, he's a really good player. He got a short suit on. It's a little hot out there, probably, so it makes sense for him to feel like got to cut some of that clothing off. 40% from three, but that's a little shorter than the 3-point line at the NBA. A legit 6'4". So that's about where you want to be as an NBA player. You know, you got to have those players that can let it fly. NBA 3-point shooters are a premium. You want to always have them. It's never a bad thing to get them. Like I said, that's why Con Knipple went so early in the draft. If you can shoot a mid-range, if you can shoot a three, and you can make a layup, you have a chance to be a good player in the starting lineup or coming off the bench if you're really good at it. And Trey Johnson is a guy that's good at it. And he's more athletic than you give him credit for. But he can finish at that rim. If you don't make the layup, he can dunk it, as you just seen. So if you can do those three things, make free throws, make a three, and make a layup or a dunk, you are going to make it to the NBA if you really put yourself in that position. I like Trey Johnson. I'm a fan. So I can see him being a legitimate player in this league for a long period of time if he stays healthy. The guy can play. Next on the board is the Pelicans. We just got done talking about them. They want rebounding from defenders. Of course, they starting center right now is Easy. We're going to see if he's going to be the center for the future, or do they go in a different direction. Obviously, if you can have more scoring, that can help. That's the reason why they went for Jordan Poole yesterday. But that's something that they're going to look forward to having. So the Pelicans got the number 7 pick in the 23rd pick. Perimeter defenders is the team needs in rebounding. I don't know if I agree with that, because they have so much young talent that they can go any direction without even drafting a player. I think the Pelicans, their main thing is just to see what they have. That's the way they should look at this roster. Let's see guys get healthy. Let's see how they play in preseason. Let's see how they play in scrimmages before preseason. See who wants to be here. See who actually fit. You don't really know these things because of the injuries and the fact that you got a new GM that want to do his own type of thing and have his own type of run, his own type of legacy with the team, which is understandable because we all do. if we're going to be in that position or be put in that position. Um, Other than that, this is a team that already has a lot of their main positions filled and their needs already filled. Now it's just about adding depth to their roster. Their pick is in, so we're going to see who they go with. And it's nothing crazy on the board. Still some guys that have all-star caliber potential on the board. We're going to see if they decide to go in that direction. That's going to be something that's fun to see. We already been live streaming for an hour to show you how slow the draft can be sometimes because we only 7 picks in. And I started this live stream when the number 1 pick was just being announced, and the hour has already went by. So we're going to be grinding today with this draft because it's going to be a whole lot more people being picked for the next couple of hours. And we're just going to have to just stay with it, keep the analysis coming. I got drafted by YouTube, representing out of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to people that know. And this is where I get paid, and this is where I'm making the name for myself on. And I think that it's a fun thing to do. And watching these people goals be achieved and their family to be able to see it come true because they know this is what they wanted to accomplish. They know that this is what they wanted to be, and they know that this is what they wanted to do. And for them to be that one step closer and to be able to take care of their family and themselves for basically the rest of their lives if they do their money right, it's a blessing situation to be in. And I'm glad to be able to watch it. I'm glad that I'm going to be able to watch a lot of these players. Didn't watch them a lot in college, but I'm going to watch a lot of them in summer league and watch a lot of them during the regular season. But right now, in the New Orleans, their pick is in right now, and we're going to see the direction they go in. And they ended up going Jeremiah Fears. We knew he was going to be off the board in that top 7. We just didn't know what team it was going to be. And now he's off the board at 7. So he's a 2024 USA U18 team champion. He's a gold medalist. He can play. The guy can pass. The guy can score. He has to work on that jump shot a little bit more. He has size. He has the ability to pass real good. He's a good playmaker. We got to give him a lot of love because he has really worked on his game and has become one of the best players in this draft easily. And he does have all-star potential upside if he can figure out his scoring and figure out his place in this league. But good body, good size, good strength. Obviously, you need to pick it up a little bit more, but the scoring has to just improve a little bit more. Already has the size and the strength to be an NBA point guard in this league easily. But he just had to work on his scoring efficiency a little bit more. His decision making in this field for the game is going to come, hopefully over the years of being in the NBA. So I do look at it like that's going to be something interesting for him as he continues to make a name for himself in the NBA. And in general, this is the final step. Now you made it to the NBA. How good can you become? How great can you be? How long can you stay great? How long can you stay healthy? How long can you dominate? That's the whole purpose of the NBA, to show you, yeah, you're good enough to be one of us. But how long can you do it? How dominant can you do it? And we're going to see if Jeremiah Fears can add his name on that list of great players that came out of Oklahoma. And obviously, Blake Griffin became an all-star. Trae Young became an all-star. They both became, I believe, all NBA players. And now Jeremiah Fears has a chance to be one of them too. He's a real good player. He is one of the better guards that you can get. He has that it factor, and you have to love that about his game because most guards don't have it no more, and a lot of guys are slower. A lot of guys are getting taller. He's a legitimate 6'2", so he's going to have, that going for him. Next on the clock is a team that has 5 first-round picks, which is the most in NBA history if they make their selections. And the Nets have identity crisis right now. They don't know what they are. They don't know what they're going to be. Even if they get their draft picks right this year, it's still going to be true for that reason, because they have to see the players pan out. And it's hard to get all 5 of them right. But the fact that this draft is so good, even at the end of the first round going into the second round, they have the ability to turn their franchise around the next 2 years if they guys can pan out and if they can be healthy, depending on who they pick. And that's the toughest part about the draft, is getting those things right. I think they need to go Kaman here to get a good rim protecting, strong, fast, athletic big. You want to take him off the board because he might not be there at the end of the draft or closer to where the other picks at. And he's the best big you can get in this draft in general, besides Derek Queen, who is more offensively ability capable. But you don't really need that right now, because if he can't defend at a high level, you can't really have nobody in the middle with him. Nick Claxton is a little too skinny, a little too small, and you probably want to move off that contract anyway, to be honest, because he's not a bad player, but he's not the player that you need him to be if you're going to be able to be a great team in the Eastern Conference. So if you're looking at longevity and you're looking at trying to build a defensive identity and still be able to pick some offensive players later in the draft, like I said, they got 5 first-round picks, it makes sense to go for the center now and possibly get the other players that can fit, because they still got Cam Thomas, they still got Cam Johnson, so they already got guys that can make shots from the perimeter, and they already got a guy that can hold the ball a little bit and score and get buckets when things get ugly and things get tough. Even if you want to eventually bring Cam Thomas off the bench, that makes a little bit of sense too, especially because he's been getting a little beat up and tore up, because he has to score as much as he can as any type of way that he can. But we knew that he'd be a bucket when he was drafted. Now we have to see, will he become an all-star caliber player in this league? And he needs help. And we're going to see who the next pick, because their pick is in right now. Kyler Murray, the forward, is on the board. Noah is on the board. Edgar is on the board. Asha is on the board. Thomas is on the board. You can get him out of Georgetown later in the draft if you don't want to go Kaman. But it is starting to look like the Nets are in a strong position. They won 26 games, and a lot of their games was competitive. A lot of their games was close. It's not like they was getting blown out and embarrassed the entire season, even though their record might suggest that. Because I watched basically the Nets the entire season, and they was actually performing and competing at a high level, even though they didn't have a lot of players that you knew about when it comes to their names. But other than that, they did perform well as a team that was losing. They was in a lot of those games, and they really made it tough for opponents to beat them. So I do look at it like the Nets, if they get another couple good pieces, they can be something crazy in the Eastern Conference, which is the respect that you will want to have from the NBA until you actually start proving that you're legit again in the Eastern Conference. But we're going to see who they go with within a couple seconds. Here come Adam Silver about to tell us right now. So they go with Agor out of BYU. That's a good pick, though. He can put the ball in the basket. They need more guys like that. This is a guy most people are not going to really know a crazy amount about, because he is a guy that they didn't really have going in the top 8 most likely. So he has the size, he has the length, he has the understanding of the game that you would need to possibly be a good starter or a good player in the league. Obviously, he's all about his business, which is important too, because that's what you would like to see from your player. He obviously was one of the better players in college. Now we're going to see what his game and what his role going to look like at the NBA level. A guy that I'm going to keep an eye out on, especially in summer league, to see what he can do and see what he can be. 6'8", 200 pounds. You got to put some strength on and some weight on at that position. He's going to get pushed around, knocked around. At the NBA level, you don't really want to see that too much, but it's going to happen because he just don't have it right now. But that comes with time. If he loves the game and he puts in the work, that'll just be something that comes along with the territory. So nothing that we got to really worry about in the future, hopefully, if you're a Nets fan. But Toronto Raptors, as crazy as this seemed, they won the championship in 2019, and they back in the lottery again. Obviously, their best pick was Scotty Barnes, and they've been doing a lot of trading and trying to figure out what their roster going to look like and how they're going to try to win games again. Not going to be an easy thing to figure out or put together, but it's how the game is. They're looking for a rim protector and anybody that can help them out in general. Like, this team is just looking for depth. That's all the Toronto Raptors need, just to add more great players to their roster. No matter if it fits or not, you figure that all out later. They just looking for talent right now. Masai is going to move around the talent, how it needs to be moved. He's going to find a way to get upgraded talent when he can, and the move is available. He's going to be one of the first people that's going to have the assets to be able to do it, just like he did with the Kawhi Leonard trade. But you have to have players that teams actually want. You have to have players that team actually are trying to get. So it does make a lot of sense for him to still have that similar type of approach that he had in the past right now. But look how tall and long that guy is. He's a freak of nature right now. It's just a beautiful thing for these basketball players to get this far. And now we get to see the beautiful game of basketball get even more diverse and even more better in general. So this is going to be a fun thing to see these guys play. You look forward to it so much. Now we get to actually witness some greatness, different styles, different players. And now we get to see what they're going to bring to the table, what they're going to do. Like I said, if you're a Toronto Raptors fan, you realize y'all have a lot of talent already. So y'all not going to go for anything crazy right here. But y'all do realize y'all need a little bit more help if y'all going to be a playoff team. And rookies usually don't help you win that much anyway. So y'all looking at this more or less like an asset building thing. Y'all already got a bunch of guards. Y'all already got a bunch of forwards. You already got Jakob Poeltl, I believe, as y'all center. So if y'all want some backup depth, maybe it makes sense to get another one. They're good. So these people gonna say the same thing I'm saying. I'm gonna say it faster because I'm the GOAT. So I'm already on top of it. I do this stuff off the top of the dome. I don't plan for it. I just know it already before it happens. That's why people love Analysis Playground and that podcast, Basketball Analysis, for that reason. But we looking at a pick that should be figured out in the next 10 seconds. I don't see why would it take any longer than that at this point when you look at the guys that's available. Did you really do your homework is what a lot of people are going to be saying and looking at. Here it goes. They got the 9th pick and the 39th pick in the second round. This is going to be a good thing for their franchise. It really is. The pick is in. Let's see what they go with in this draft. Now we're getting to a point in the draft where you still got some guys with upside to be stars. You still got some guys that can be legitimate starters in this position. So teams like the Nets, for example, they still can get it right. They still can get some good pieces that can help them right away. And that's what they're looking for anyway, either pieces they can trade or pieces they want to keep or pieces that can help change their culture, which they can still get, and some other teams have the ability to do that too. Obviously, a lot of people can't wait for this to see who the Rockets are going to pick. Obviously, that pick is going to go to Phoenix because of the Kevin Durant trade. So we're going to see who Phoenix chooses to go with. They obviously need a center and a big. That's what they've been coveting. That's what they've been wanting. We'll see if the best one is still going to be available after the Raptors pick. There's been some guys that people thought should go a little higher that might go a little lower. You still in the lottery, so you shouldn't be tripping. You shouldn't be mad. You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be nervous. You just got to chill out and just let what happens work out for you and trust the work that you put in. Trust your mindset. And if you do drop a little bit, get a little bit more locked in, get a little bit more focused, and do your thing. Do your thing. That's all I can say. That's all you can hope for. That's all you can try to do anyway. It can be simpler than what we want it to be. Sometimes we just dwell on it too much when we should just let it go and be more free mentality-wise. So he does go in the top 10 like we knew. Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. We knew that he was one of the best players left. He still has star potential. Like I said, they have a bunch of guards and a bunch of forwards already in Toronto. So we're going to see how that works out for them there. But it's still opportunity. You're still getting drafted. You're still getting in the league. You still have a chance to work for your spot and earn it legitly. What you do in training camp, what you do in summer league, what you do before you get there is what's going to help you become more acquainted with the situation, or is going to help you just be more respected in the league in general. We knew that this guy can ball. We knew that this guy was one of the best players in this draft, and now he's off the board. So I wonder is Phoenix going to take Kaman because he is the best big on the board for defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, obviously rim protection. And that's what Phoenix actually wants. So we're going to see if that's what they're going to try to go for real quick, since he's still actually on the board. If they don't, then we'll see who they feeling a little bit more on. And that should actually give us a good look at what they're trying to do with this team with Jalen Green and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. So they also said they're in a situation where they're looking to get rid of Grayson Allen also. And that's something that's going to be fun to watch. Like they get a defender, they get a competitor, but they already got Scotty Barnes that do a lot of those things. Obviously, you want as many guys that can compete and really make things hard or difficult, and that's just good competitiveness, and that's what you want is a guy that's going to bring 100% effort and a guy that can fit in the system and play good on and off the ball, and also understand his role on the court. That's all you can really want. But it's always going to be different when you don't have shot creators and guys that can make your job easier by being a threat on the court too. That's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out. Not easy getting those type of players because they're worth so much. And once they get to that point, most people want to keep them, especially if they're young. But he's a guy that a lot of teams like That's why we had him so high, because he's a great understanding system player and a guy with a high basketball IQ. So sometimes you can just impact the game by doing things right and doing the fundamentals of the game, and that can just guide you to winning. And that's what that guy is about, Colin Murray Bowles. And if you're a Toronto fan, you should be happy. But when we look at this Phoenix Suns pick, um, they really have to figure a lot of things out. They're in a tough situation where Devin Booker's only getting older, so they don't have as much time as they think, because he's getting closer to that 30. And 30 is the prime, and he did get you to the finals, even though it was Chris Paul doing majority of the work. And obviously, you lose Mikal, you lose DeAndre Ayton and those guys. Now you're trying to find a way to get more young talent and still trying to flip it, so that way you can figure out if you can win with Devin Booker as your best player or your second best player, or whatever they do with some of this talent that they've been acquiring over the last couple of days. But this 10th pick can be huge for them. Honestly, it can be huge for them. And they have a lot of guys that they should let go, so that way they can go in a different direction with this roster, which does make sense, because that's kind of what you have to do when you win 36 games and you was a disappointment and you had some of the best players in the last 10 years on your roster and they couldn't even win you 40 games. It shows you how brutal the Western Conference is and how hard it is in general to win in this league. And it's humbling too, because this is a team that got out of the first round and then they missed the playoffs completely. So that's a big disappointment. That's frustrating, but they know that they have to go back from start and try to find a way to get back to the middle, so that way they can find a way to get a better ending than what they got the last couple of years. And it's hard to get to that point. You still got a lot of guys that is really good left on the board, so it's not like you're desperate for talent. Some of the things that they saying is not really true, because they do have a lot of good shooters, they do have a lot of good scorers, but they're gonna have to let some of them go because they do have too much of an abundance of some of those guys. But it just shows you how you have to construct your roster and how you have to find out a way to supplement a little bit too, because it is hard to build a roster because of the salary cap and how much they're hitting you and how much players are worth and how much players are demanding, and the fact that you do have to pay them, because if you're not, somebody else will. That makes them stronger, that makes you weaker, and it's just how the structure of the game is. And it's frustrating, trying to get the best roster you can get and then being hit with a situation where you have to get rid of the talent that you wanted to keep. And it can be tough. It can be tough. Like, it's one of the hardest things to do. You try to take it day by day, year by year, and still knowing that you have demands and you have things that you have to figure out. That's why the GMs get paid the big dollars, because they have to do so much stuff to figure out what the team needs and what the team doesn't need, and still try to figure out what the coaching staff is demanding so that they can have success and they can make the team achieve the goals that's set by the team and the organization. So it's very difficult, but the pick is in for the Houston Rockets. We're going to see what direction they go in with this pick. There's a lot of players they can go with. We'll break it down as it happens. So that should be something that's interesting and fun. That's the way the things is. And like I said, a lot of the times you're better off doing the job yourself, because depending on other people to do the job for you, and you most likely got to compensate them, you're better off doing it yourself, especially if you have the time to be able to accomplish it. The more you can do for yourself, the better. The more money you can save, the better, because people going to do the same thing if they had the opportunity to. And the draft is a perfect example of that. If we got you, we don't need you. If we got you and you, we going to get this, that, and that. And that's just how it works out even in the real world. The Rockets on the board, and they're going to go with – so they go with the big, like I thought. They go with the big. he went to sleep, so he's not really ready for the moment. But he's a legit big. He's the best big that you can get. The strength, the size, the body, the athleticism. We knew that guy was going to be off the board quickly. Lottery pick, like we knew. Just very, very good player. Very, very good understanding of the game. So it's going to take him a couple years to figure out his role and how he can improve and how he can be great in this league. And now we're going to see, can he be one of the best rim protected rim runners in the game? And is he going to really give Phoenix what they need? They do need another big that has legitimate size and legitimate length and athleticism. Box check, box check, box checked. And now we're going to see if he's just able to do it at the NBA level, which is the hardest and toughest thing to do. But dude has the work ethic. Let's not get that confused. That's why he's a lottery pick, and not just the size and the body, is his IQ and how to use that body the right way. And look how efficient he is from the field, 71% from the field. You would like him to rebound better. You'll like him to do a little bit more, but that's something that you have to worry about in the future more than now. And he's just happy and blessed to be in the moment that so many people haven't been able to reach or get, but so many people are happy that they did. And he's one of them. So you gotta give him love for that. And he is one of the best players I would say you can get in this draft. Legitimate 7-footer. That's what you want. Look at that. Effort is there. Skill is there. Yeah, I like his ability to have touch. Some big mans have it. Some big mans don't. And you would like to have the best of both worlds if you can choose it. Just know that it comes with him wanting and demanding more because he's that confident in his game. You have to know that if you're the coaching staff and if you're the organization picking him. Fun teammate to have around too. Yeah, so he ended up getting drafted in the top 10. Portland, they're a team that got a lot of talent. It's crazy that some of these teams that have bad records aren't actually that bad when it comes to talent. They have a lot of good players on their roster, a lot of good size, a lot of good guards. But now that they have Drew Holiday and some other veterans like Kamara, obviously Matisse Thybulle, they have some guys that can compete defensively, two-way players, if you want to put it that way. Who do they want to go with in the draft? They got rid of Anthony Simons, so that option is not there anymore. Maybe they just looked at it like we can get rid of Anthony Simons and just draft another scorer Or do they even care about that at this point? Do they just go with a two-way player like they've been doing for majority of their draft in the last couple years? So that's going to be an interesting topic. They don't have as much time on the clock. Their decision should be easy one. They did miss the playoffs. They was 12th in the West. They only have the 11th pick, and this is the one they're going to select right now. They don't really have too much trouble to worry about right now. It's just about teaching their young players, helping them develop, helping them become the best players that they can become, which helps them be the best team that they can become if they can play well with each other and play unselfishly. They can reach those goals. But another player that drafted from Duke, we know what they can do. So the proposed trade ended up going through. So it's looking like Portland not even going to be selecting at 11th. It's going to be the Grizzlies. So they go with Cedric Howard out of Washington State. Most people haven't really been talking about him. A lot of people haven't been bringing him up because they probably thought he was going to go later in the draft. So this is a bit of a reach for a player like him. But this is who they feel is their guy. This is the guy that they're feeling right now. Makes sense. If this is the guy you want to pick and you don't have really nothing that you see that you really want, why not take a flyer on a guy and just say, this is a draft where we got a lot of guys that's similar, and we just go with the guy that we like the most. And that's how the drafts usually go anyway. Let's just pick whoever we want to pick, go with whoever we want to pick. And if we just flame out on it, we just have to say we tried it. Sometimes you better off knowing what would happen instead of living the life of what would happen. And when you're going this high for a guy like Cedric, that's basically what you're saying. We rather get the guy we want for sure than worry about losing a guy or not getting a guy at all. I'd rather know for sure than not know in general. So I don't live a life in mystery. I don't live a life thinking and wondering and pondering. I know what I'm doing every single day, and that's the type of life you really want to live if you so choose, but I prefer it that way. So the guy can play without a doubt. So this is a pick that I would say makes sense because Portland don't need another one of those guys since they got Drew Holiday. So you want the younger guy, but it's not guaranteed that his three-point shot is going to pan out at the NBA level. We've seen a lot of guys that can shoot it and score it in college a little bit, playing off the ball and being a catch and shoot guy. But when it's the NBA, guys stick to him or guys rotate to him real well, and it just takes them out of their game, and they're not really able to do much. Like everybody wants Aaron Nesmith until you got to pay him $15 million, until you got to pay him $25 million just to be a guy that can shoot a three and defend a little bit. Now, you still want those type of guys, don't get me wrong, and those guys do make a difference, but a lot of guys with those bodies and those opportunities don't really become exactly what you want them to become. They don't become a guy that can shoot 40% from three. They don't become a guy that can shoot 36% from three. That's why it's tough in this draft to get him right. But he is one of those guys that you know for sure is going to show up to work and do whatever he can to play. Will that work ethic be enough to make him a great player? Should. But all these are things as we're going to feel every single pick gonna have until they actually have to prove it. And that's just how the draft goes. Potential is the son of a gun. Now the Bulls have the 12th pick and the 45th pick in the second round. I would agree they need front court depth. That's something they definitely need. The good part about it, got a lot of forwards on the board right now. Some of the guys with higher potential but have a good chance of being bust are on the board right now. You still got Derek Queen if you want a center. Not going to be a great defender. Kind of the same thing that you get with Vucevic. Obviously, Vucevic is a better post player and a better free throw shooter, and we had a 3-point shooter, but he's not athletically gifted enough to be a great defensive player anymore. So it makes sense for them to try to eventually say, well, it's business. You helped us accomplish some goals. You helped us make it to the playoffs. Now, business wise, we just have to move off you now because we feel that it's better for me in you to see something different and go in a different direction. So I think that that's what they're going to probably do. If they take a guard, I would be shocked because they do have Kobe White, who has shown that he can be a 20-point scorer. They did still have Matas, who's going to be a guy that they feel can be special for them in the future with his athleticism and his length. And his proven jump shot is what they want to continue to sell you on. But we'll see if he's able to really do those things, which he showed the ability to do. I'm not going to knock him because he did show some improvement there sometimes through the season. But they also can look at it like we need a small forward. We got a power forward. We need a small forward. So we can pick one in this area, and that will give us something that we really do need, a guy that can defend a little bit and shoot a three and get out in transition and be able to rebound a little bit and score in some mid-range areas. That will help a lot. But the best part about that is some of those guys are available. They finished ninth in the East. They in the play-in in the East. The Bulls played and did better than what we thought that they would be and would do this season that just ended. But it just shows you how hard it is to be consistent in the game of basketball as a player, as an organization, and as a team, and even as a coaching staff, and even as an owner. But you got to give the people what they want, and you gotta sell them on hope. And sometimes it can be false hope, and sometimes it can be legit. Sometimes the organizations don't even know what they want to do. Because it is that difficult to get things right. So you never really get behind. But we have seen some organizations do it. Now, they did have their hiccups here and there, but they didn't have it for a long period of time. So that's something that we all got to give them credit on. So the Bulls pick is in. We're going to see who they go with. Should be really fun. We're an hour and 30 in, and we're only 12 picks in. I would say 13 picks in to the draft. Adam Silver is coming to the stage. and we get to see another player goal come true. And let's see who it is going to be. That was a reach. We didn't see. Well, I guess he's in that area. I would say he's in that area. He's more of a project. He's going to be something they have to build up on. But what do they have to lose? They're already ahead of schedule record wise. Even if they take a step back, they're getting a good player that has a lot of upside. He has a really good body for the league and the NBA. It shows you how a lot of these guys are just coming like crazy in the 2020s. Everybody's long and everybody's tall. Everybody's switchable. Like I said, they already have Matas, but why not just get another guy like that? If you can get another guy like that, why wouldn't you? Let's just be honest about it. Now you got two of them. And they both can play together. So that's something that should be exciting. 6'10", 204. You want him to be a little bit more muscular, a little bit more better with his body. You want him to improve his shooting a little bit. You gotta like his effort, but it is something that he's going to bring to the table from day one. Now it's just about him just becoming an improved scorer and a floor spacer. If he can do those things, then the Bulls are going to be going in the right direction, especially because they get another pick in this draft. Now, for Atlanta, they have some good options right in front of them. Remember, they did get the Porzingis trade, so they're most likely not going to be looking for a center because they have a Kongwu. We know that they might let go of Clint Capella. So actually, the New Orleans Pelicans going to pick now. So I just wanted to make this clear. Portland is sending the number 11 pick, Cedric Cowherd, to Memphis for the number 16 pick. I just wanted that to be known on my channel. Not only that, Mark Williams is going to the Suns. Hornets, the Hornets are acquiring the number 29 pick in a 2029 first rounder for a big man. So Mark Williams, one of the best centers in the league, not mainly because he can rebound and he can have a little bit of a shot outside, is not going to be with the Hornets anymore. And like I said before, the Blazers are sending the number 11 pick to Cedric Cowherd to Memphis for the number 16 pick and the 2028 pick too. So yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies have traded Cedric Cowherd after the Portland drafted Cowherd with the number 11 pick. in the 2025 NBA draft. That's something that's crazy. As soon as they got him, I thought that was a guy that they liked. They traded him to Portland. Portland want those two-way guys. Now they got a guy like that, um, which is good to know. But it's gonna be a lot of crazy trades possibly happening, and we're already seeing that the Pelicans are making another move. Yeah, so Mark Williams didn't go to the Lakers. They found a trade for him to go to the Suns. So that number 29 pick and a 2029 first round pick for the big man is all they needed to get him. I would say he's one of the best bigs, so it makes sense why they'll try to go for him, especially at a price like that. They're saying that the Pelicans ended up drafting Derek Queen. They got E. Misi, and now they got Derek Queen, so that makes sense to have two bigs. Um, some people feel like he's going to be the next Alperen Şengün, who was an all-star caliber player in this league just last year and helped the number 2 Rockets make it to the playoffs and go 7. Um, that's crazy. Um, a lot of news going on. Yeah, so Derek Queen is a big body, very strong. He can score in a variety of different ways. We knew he was going to make it to the league since he was in high school. We just had to see him live it out. And most players, for sure, if they can ball out in high school and they can stay healthy and they can stay out of trouble, that 1 year of college shows you enough to make sure that you're making the right selection when they get older. Their maturity, their consistency, their work ethic, and the way they carry themselves is what you're mainly looking at when you're drafting them in that year draft that you want to get them. But Derek Queen, that man know how to play. Dude is a bucket at the center position, and he isn't afraid of the big moments. And that man can really, really put that ball in the basket. They're going to have a lot of fun with him. Whatever team gets him, even in the future, they are going to be blessed with a good player. You just want him to play harder defensively. You just want him to try harder defensively. And that's all you can really ask for. And now we're getting closer to the halfway point. Um, Obviously the Spurs are happy right now because it's still some good players on the board. You get Victor Wembanyama, you get Stephon Castle, you get Dylan Harper, and now you get a chance to add another player, and you just got De'Aaron Fox without giving up really none of your core players. How much talent do the Spurs need? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. How much talent do the Spurs really need? They're getting so many players that is insane. And it's going to be crazy watching them try to build another dynasty with Victor Wembanyama as their number one guy. Yeah, so the draft been really good so far and very interesting, and it's very done well. It just keep moving and going and moving and going and moving and going. They're doing a good job of answering the questions right away. They're doing a great job of making sure the player feels comfortable and the family feels comfortable, and they're a part of the journey. So you know it is really looking good for ESPN right now. Everything is so smooth and so forward moving that is really good to watch. Like it's no downtime. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then things are just going in the right direction the whole time so far. So far so good from the draft. This should be a professional process, and it's really looking that way right now. Carter Bryant is one of my favorite players in the draft out of Arizona. Like the guy has the body, he has the swagger, he has the length. He's a guy that the Spurs shouldn't have. Like that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of these guys picked the right time to come into the NBA. They really have. Like this draft is just deep. So the Spurs got it right on this pick to me. But the problem is they have so many players at that position, which is not a problem because you look at it like all these guys are tradable. If we ever need to get another star, or we ever need to go in a different direction, we have so many players that teams actually will like and actually will go for, and it just makes a lot of sense. Carter Bryant, I mean, you can't really go wrong right there. You picked him up at 14. So it's not like you picked him up at 3. You picked him up, you know, in the middle of the draft. That's a real good pick. I know we haven't seen a lot of them, and we haven't really got a lot of them, but what we do know is that the guy can play on both ends of the court, and the guy can help you when it comes to spacing and keeping the ball moving. If he doesn't have a shot that he likes, he gives it back up and he plays within the team system. And he's going to be a guy that's going to push you. If you think you're going to be having an easy time against him, it's just not going to happen. And that's what the NBA should be. And these are a lot of things that we're seeing from these young players early in their careers. And a lot of the time is before they even make it into the NBA, which was really not the case most of the time in other drafts. But if that's what you have to do to make it, a lot of guys saying, well, why wouldn't I do it? Well, now your goal come true, and now you can be a big player in this world of the game of basketball. And now we get to see who the Thunder pick. It's crazy that they won 68 games, and now they get a top 15 pick. That's crazy. Rudy Gobert finally got some love again. He's one of the most disrespected players in the league, even though he's one of the best bigs in the league every year, even when he's getting older. Yeah, I'm liking that the draft still got some good players on the board. And we're looking at some two-way players on the board. So the Thunder, what do they really need? I would say another guy that can put the ball in the basket. I mean, you got Isaiah Joe. You got Aaron Wiggins. You got Cason Wallace. Don't you? You can go for a big right here. They got a big on the board. You could go for Thomas, and I said that. You could go for a forward, and hopefully they can grow and develop into being another guy, because that's the only thing that the Thunder will really need is a big that can defend and rebound if Chet gets injured, because you got Hardenstein, you got Chet. Now you just want that third big. I know you people gonna say, well, you got Jalen Williams, but that's it. If you're gonna add one more player to that rotation, you probably want him to be a big that doesn't have to start. We know that they want to start Hardenstein. We know that they want to start Chet Holmgren. Why not have another big that you can just say, come in and do exactly what they need to do fundamentally wise, which is rebound, protect the rim, and still try to find a way to put the ball in the basket on different levels of scoring. So luckily for them, that's available right now. That's a luxury to have. But we thought 3-and-D guys was getting paid at a premium. And we're seeing a lot of teams draft and trade for 3-and-D guys like a Drew Holiday, for example. They're always getting moved. They're always getting traded because teams want those type of guys. Teams willing to give up stuff for those type of guys. And then we see a lot of guys in the draft knowing that that's a hot commodity and you can get paid a lot of money and you're going to be looked at as a guy that's a necessity in the draft, because teams do need them on every single roster, because this is a copycat league and just the way that it is. And defense win championships. Same with rebounding and same with the ability to get efficient offense. So why wouldn't you want those guys? And that's the purpose of me saying that, because if you feel that way, if you can play defense, hit a three, make a layup, you have a place in this league. And it's funny to say that because you think that, well, that's obvious. You should be able to do it. But can you do it against the best defensive teams? Can you do it against the best players in the world? That's the difference between playing in high school and playing in the NBA. Everybody's long, everybody's athletic, everybody's fast, everybody's quick. Can you still do those things against that consistently? If you can do that, you belong in the NBA, and that's how it should be broken down, and it's just the truth. But it just shows you how hard it is to really do that. At the same time, that's why there's only 60 players basically getting drafted for that reason. Because if we had it our way, we're going to draft the guy that shows us the most. Well, we do need guys that can do the most too, because that's just as valuable sometimes in this league. Some guys just have that it factor. Some guys just have that knack. And those are just as important as putting the ball in the basket. Because if you can slow them down and make it more difficult to put the ball in the basket, that can really help your team make up the difference if you don't have that type of player on your roster yet. And Indiana was a great example of that, getting one game away, a couple minutes away from winning the NBA championship. So you can be that blessed if you have the right type of competitors. But it's up to you to get them. It's up to you to put them in. And seeing that opportunity open up only helps by being able to get them in to your roster and get them into your organization. That's one thing that I will say. The pick for the Thunder is in, so we get a chance to see that. That's going to be very fun and interesting to see. They were 68-14 last year in the regular season. Now we're going to see who their pick is. They're excited to get this team even more loaded, so we're going to see what they do. And they did go with Thomas like I thought that they would. And why wouldn't they? Hopefully they keep the guy, though, because he's exactly what they would be missing if they can have their cake and eat it too with a roster that they already blessed with. This is a steal. Yeah, I know. This is crazy. This is just the rich getting richer. This is the rich getting richer is all I can say. But that's just the whole point of the league. If you're not trying to find a way to get better, you're in the wrong organization. You with the wrong team. And we have to give a lot of love to Sam Presti and Clay Bennett and the Oklahoma City Thunder as a team and as an organization for knowing that they need to stay at the top at all costs. You know what I mean? And they ain't really costing themselves much because they put themselves in a great position. And this is another great move. 14 points, double digits, 8.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And he shot 53% from the field. That's just a great player. That's a great player to add to a great team. I'm proud of him. He really is a great player for that. I mean, 15. Look at what you're getting at 15, man. And that's the type of defense that they play anyway. That swarming, roaming defense. And this is another guy that can clear a lot of space in a small amount of time, rebound, protect the rim, finish at the rim, and possibly hit a little bit of a push shot and a floater every once in a while. And that's what you want from your team. Like, if we can fill another hole without giving up much, why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? Like I said in the beginning of the draft, we can patch up some things real quick and get that boat to keep floating and get that boat to get us where we need to be so we can get a new one or fix it all the way up or refurbish it. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do that? You know what I mean? And now they found a way to get it done without giving up really anything. So the Memphis Grizzlies already got their pick in. Remember, it's part of that Portland trade. So we're going to see who goes 16th in the draft. So we got a lot of guys still on the board at the guard position, at the forward position. Not too many bigs on the board now. but it is one that still has some value and some upside. Other than that, everything going smooth, and the guys are really enjoying that moment of their lifetime. They work so hard for this, and if you're gonna put in that much work and you're gonna enjoy it that much, why not go pro? And if you have that ability and you have that chance, most people are going to take it. Not even because of the money, because you have to have a purpose. You have to have something you enjoy. You have to have something you love. And if you have that, that's a fun thing. Adam Silver doing a pick in right now. Let's see who they go with. So they actually ended up going with another big. He's one of the more talented, skilled ones. He's a little slower than the other guys, but he ended up going very high, probably higher than what we probably thought, or in that range. Well, depending on how long you think the range is, but he's a really good player. Yeah, so far we're seeing that a lot of people want the big man right now. That they're even willing to go high. Um, I like it though. If that's the guy you want, you got to make that move. He's a double. You can protect that paint, and that's what you want. And they got a good guy at that. Remember, Zach Edey is a good comparison. Just good reactions, um, good instincts, and you want that for rebounding. You want that for rim protection. You want that for scoring, understanding the court where you need to be at on the court where you're supposed to be at. At least he got the small things figured out. Even if he doesn't play a lot of minutes in this season, at least we know for sure he can be a backup big at the worst, and those are needed Those are important. And I think that that's a good pickup right there. If you don't like the free agent bigs or you don't feel like they're worth the money, just draft you one. And he is a good one. Cedric Coward is what the Grizzlies received. The Blazers received Yang, the 2028 first round pick, and 2 future second round picks. That's what they had to give up. And they did it happily. And man, the Blazers really got even deeper when it comes to picks, and another good player can't go wrong with what they just did with the team that they're trying to build. So Minnesota, they didn't take that long to make their pick. They already know who they wanted. A lot of these guys I had going in the second round too. Some of them I knew that they'd be in that area where they can be a little higher, they can be a little lower. I had to look down on my list and see where guys can be for whatever the reason is. You don't really know what they're going to do. You're just trying to understand what they would do in that position, and you will just make reasonings with yourself, especially at the draft lottery, to see why they would make the decision that they end up going with. But there's a lot of foreign-born players that is going to be getting picked around this area. And we're seeing foreign really take over the NBA. They play with more joy. They play with more skill. They prioritize team more than individual. And I think that's a big reason why you're seeing a lot of teams, as we see now, going foreign more than they're going with American-born. So Jones is off the board. He's a center. I just said that again. I thought he was be off the board before Yang, and Yang get off the board before he did. But another foreign-born player out of France. Not a surprise that he went in his range, in my opinion. I'm just surprised that Yang went before he did. But other than that, another good big. He's a little faster. He's a little quicker than Yang. That does make a difference at the NBA level because athleticism is king in this game, and he does have that. I can tell you that much. He's very fast and quick off his feet. Pogo stick is what we would say in the game that we play. Can really get up and down. Got that 20 jersey on. Gotta love the 20. He's good. He's a good player for that pick. Like you get him at 17, that's really good. Good pass and good feet. He really knows how to get up in that area. He really knows how to cover a lot of space and a lot of ground. He has upside. That's one thing we do know. Now the Wizards, they're back on the board. They're still trying to figure out what they need. They have a lot of guys on the board. I'm a fan of Walter Clayton. I don't think he's going to go to the Wizards, though. They're looking like at what I'm looking at from the board. It's a lot of guys that's foreign that might get taken. Look at all these France guys getting picked. They had 4 last year too. That's crazy. Now they haven't even more. Yeah. So the people working to make it to this league, they looking at it like, I love playing this game. It'll be fun to get paid and compete against the best, develop so I can be the best version of myself on the court and off the court. And it's just crazy seeing how the game has really changed over time. which it should. Evolving is what we all continue to do, even if we think that we're not. Somebody can tell you something just because you look in the mirror and see the same face, don't mean it's the same person. Yeah. So the draft is on a little bit of a break. So we're actually going to see where some of these players go because we're getting closer to the second round. And that's big because a lot of those guys are going to be on cheap contracts. They're going to be roster filler, or they're going to be guys with high upside, but not able to contribute right away. Some people are going to take flyers on. Some people are going to do drafting stashes for those reasons. So we got to look out for the rest of the guys that we feel can still come in and play as a 7th, 8th, or 9th man. And then we also got to look at some of these guys like we just seen that might be starters or close to it, depending on what happens. Somebody might get injured. Somebody might be traded, and they might open up some space or some time for them to take, or they might just be a better fit than the guy they had already, which happens all the time in the NBA. And it would be nothing new if it happened again. So that's one thing we do have to look out for as the draft gets closer to ending. But it's been fun so far watching these young guys get closer to making it to an NBA game. They about to get the money, but now they get to make their legacy even bigger. Parents are proud. Players are proud of themselves because they knew that they can do it. They knew that they can achieve it, and now it's happening right before their eyes. Be like that. So the number 18 pick is going to the Utah Jazz. So the Wizards won't be getting it, but they're going to be making the selection. They don't really need too much right now. A lot of these guys in this area is very raw. They upside type of players, upside type of guys. So they might be around 2-3 years. They might be on a roster for 2-3 years. We don't really know. But that's the risk you take when you're drafting guys you haven't seen much of, or you've seen a lot of, but they don't get too much playing time. You know it's going to take time for them to impact winning basketball. And that's just going to be how it is as we get closer to the second round and to the end of the draft. A lot of those guys really have the body. They have enough of footage for us to understand what they possibly could be and what they possibly could do. But at the same time, that doesn't really make them great players. It just makes them potentially great. And it's unfortunate that we do take that if more than we should, but it's how the draft always been. It's just how it is. How the draft has always worked. Um, the pick is in right now. We're going to see exactly who is going to be. A lot of foreign guys on the board. Some guys that can shoot a little bit, play a little defense, and put the ball in the basket. Dude, beard thick. Dude, oh, that beard thick. That's because I'm up close. So Walter Clayton Jr., one of my favorite players in the draft, he ended up getting picked 18th, which is good because he is one of the better players in the draft. We've seen a lot of guys get emotional because this is what they worked for. This is what they believe they could achieve. This is what they believe that they could do. So it makes a lot of sense for them to feel that way. Like, man, I can't believe it actually happened. Man, I finally did it. I finally made it. And I can't really blame them for feeling that way. But the work don't stop here, man. The work don't stop. If anything, this is the toughest way because you can't get no further. You can't get no higher. It's either you last and make it in this game or you just wasn't as good as you thought you was. And that's the reality that you have to see when you're in this position. Either you was as good as you thought you were or you was just delusional. Like Kaman said, some of these people do feel like they feel like they that guy, and then they come to the league and they just be another player, or they come to the league and they out in 3, 4, 5 years, and somebody else took their spot and they can't get back in, or like I said, injuries happen and it strips you from your greatness and you're just not able to rekindle it, which happens to a lot of people. I got injured and I was able to still get back to where I needed to, but some people can't do that either. It's unfortunate and it sucks, especially the fans that we get attached to, the players we get attached to, but it's just part of how the game is, and that's how the world works in general. But there's nothing we can do but accept it and move on from it. And his picture going to look a little silly because he got the tears and his redness in his face. But you made it. You did it. You accomplished it. And he is one of the best guards that you can get in this draft. The guy is just a very good player, and you're just going to have to see if it's going to pan out because a lot of his shots are tough and some of them are difficult. Some of them he's settled with, but you still have to have that confidence that the next one going to go in or that you can make it anyway. That's what you have to feel. That's what you have to do. And it's going to be hard, difficult to do against some fast, quick guys in the league, but that's what you practice. That's what you work on. And that's what you do it for. Like I said, it's no higher level than the NBA. once you make it to this level, either you're great or you're not. And we're going to see how he's going to pan out in the league. Um, but this league is all about shot takers and shot makers. So he's not scared to take the shot. He's not scared of the moment. He's not scared of situations. And he can also relish in those moments too. And you do want guys that can be that way. And you do want guys that can do that. So it does make a lot of sense for him to go this high in the draft. And some even had him in that 25 to 30 range. Some people had him in that 15 to 20 range. So, it's all depending on how the team feel about you and how you give them the right impressions when they get a chance to check you out in those workouts and all those games you played and the meetings and the things you did with some of these people. You never know who's watching. You never know who's lurking. You never really know who's keeping up with you and keeping track on you. So that's why you want to always have the best smile that you can have on your face for as long as you can, even if it doesn't work out for you. At least you had the chance. At least you had the opportunity, because some people never get the chance or the opportunity, and they work just as hard as you or just as good as you. It just teams wasn't feeling them, or they just didn't like what their body looked like. They didn't like how that situation was. They didn't like what they had to deal with if they got them in the baggage and the things you can bring with you. So some people out the league for various different reasons, but at least they had the chance, is what other people gonna say. And some of these guys, they take those chances, and now they know how it is for it to come true. And now they see the game in the world for what it really is. They got all that time, man. So the Nets go with a guy that got high upside, another guy out of France, but he can play. He's a good player. He's a guy that can play. So they're going with a guy that plays the same position as Cam Thomas. So we're going to see how that works out. It is always good to have somebody that can push you. It is good to have somebody that you can compete with. That's always healthy, because that's what makes you great enough to get to this level. And they're going to need that too. But I would like for Brooklyn to get another big. I think that is probably not important now in this part of the draft, but he can orchestrate the offense and create shots for himself and for others. That's what you would like to have at the end of the day. So he has good upside, like I said. Um, we'll see what ends up happening to him as a basketball player. So we going for the tie with France players. So we'll see if that ends up happening in this draft too. But I feel like all these players are high upside players. Um, you definitely want to take those gambles and those risks on guys instead of not even thinking about it. Especially when you're a team like the Brooklyn Nets, you don't have nothing to lose. I mean, you're gaining a lot more for trying to go for the high risk talent. Um, they're proud of the selection. They happy they got the guy that they wanted, and I think that is just a good thing to see. Um, there's no reason why you shouldn't do these decisions that the Nets are making. Like their roster is so depleted, but they still had guys that went out there and played their hardest and did the best they could to try to help the Nets win games, even when the Nets weren't trying to win games. The Heat, they're on the board. Um, there's a lot of good guys for them right now. Um, they're just not going to help you win right away. I think the Heat already understand that because they are picking at 20. But the Heat, they do need a really good player. They don't really need a guy with upside. If they're trying to keep Heat culture popping, they need somebody that can dominate the game. And they don't have a player on that roster besides Tyler Hero and Andrew Wiggins that can get them 20 points. And Bam Adebayo, he can get you 22, but they need another guy to make their jobs easier, to make their offense flow smoother. And I just don't really see that on the court at the position that they're at right now. I think that's going to be something that they're going to be mad about. Nobody really fixed their team. Nobody really going to change their team for the better, if not right away. Um, there's nothing that they can really do right here besides just pick the best talent they can get or the player they like the most, because it's not really anything crazy on the board right now when it comes to helping them make the playoffs next year. So I just don't see that happening. They have a better shot of getting somebody in free agency than they do in this spot right now where they at in the draft. So that's something that the Heat fans should know right here. That's something that I have to point out. But there's a lot of guys that still can fill a void probably in the future. But when we talk about guys that can come in and really help them right away, I don't really see that right now on the board. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. As part of being an analyst, you have to make predictions. You have to make projections. You have to have the ability to make educated guesses. You watch the footage. You watch the games. You watch how they play. You watch how they can fit on a team like the Heat. Obviously, their team is ran differently. Obviously, their offense and defense is different than other teams. They have their culture also that you have to be willing to fit in with and do, unless you're just not going to be on the roster. So the pick is in for Miami. We're gonna see what they go with. So Kaspers is off the board out of Illinois. He's a guard. I mean, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. We getting some big players at that guard position. They took a gamble on that guy, but he should be at least a good rotation player at the worst. So I think that's what they're looking at too. So he can do a lot of things for you. Rebound the basketball at the guard position. He can set you up a little bit. He got to improve on his jump shot a little bit better, his decision making a little bit better. His reads got to be a little bit more crisp and a little bit more cleaner. But I mean, most players that play 1 year in college with a bunch of players they never played with before is going to have that same type of thing happen to them, unless they're one of the great ones. The great ones can figure it out right away, and that's why they're able to go up a level really quickly. I don't have a problem with the guy. He really is a decent guard. Like I said, at this point, all these guys have glaring flaws, and all these guys have things they have to really work on, and you have to be really stern on them and really hard on them. If you don't, then they can just be a guy that's out of the league quickly, and you don't want to see that really happen if you're in his position. The Utah Jazz pick is in, but it's going to the Wizards, I believe. The Jazz are about to get another good pick in. Let's see. They had the worst record in the NBA, so it makes sense for them to need a lot of talent. So Will Riley goes from Illinois. So another Illinois boy is gone off the board. And he is one that we will have to see what he can bring to the table at the NBA level. He's a difference maker. He can really do a lot of things on the basketball court. But it should be fun seeing what he can do at the highest level. He was getting a lot of sleep and a lot of rest in the pandemic. He got a lot of size and a lot of length in the pandemic times. You do need them growth spurts if you want to make it to the NBA, because if he was 5'9", he probably wouldn't have made it to the NBA. But since he did go to sleep a lot, get a lot of rest, he was able to grow. Yeah, he deserves to be in the league. So if you can get double-digit points in a short amount of time, that can really help you in the NBA, especially when you have size and good skills with the ball in your hand, and you can be a decision maker and a playmaker. That's mainly what you need to be successful in this league, even if you come off the bench and be a rotation player. And at least he has those skills already at his young age. Um, but he does need to get a little stronger. He does need to work on his timing a little bit more when it comes to scoring or creating separation and being able to score after the separation. So he doesn't have to have so many tough finishes at the rim or shots where he seems like he's settling when he can get a better look. That's what players and GMs are going to look at when they're evaluating you and your talent. But at least you know for sure the guy still has a lot of promise and a lot of things that he can work on to be a great contributor to your team. And now he's in the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets are on the board basically. Um, there's a lot of guys that still can help you. They have, like I said, the guard position figured out. It's not too many bigs that's actually really, really good that can help you right away on the board. I think they didn't care anyway because they had chances to figure that thing out. It is one left on the board at from Stanford, but let's see what happens right now. So this pick is basically almost in. Not really too many things that they can go for if they're drafting for best talent available. Either you're going for a guard or a wing, or you're taking a chance on a guy with upside at the center position. Seems like they figured it out. If I'm the Nets fans, I'm actually looking at it like we got some good future right now. We got a good some good pieces in the future. So that's all you can really hope for. That's all you can really try to do in the draft anyway. So the pick is in. We're gonna see who they go with. They have a lot of guys that has upside to possibly be a two-way player or guys that can put the ball in the basket that can help Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas out. They already got some good picks in already. Now we see where they go at here. Um, very interesting right now. The Nets are really showing you that they want to take all five of those picks and get some good core nucleatic pieces that can really change the trajectory of this team and where they trying to do and where they're trying to go. And it all does make sense at the end of the day. You got to figure it out now and hope for the best in the future. So that's all you can really do. So we gonna see who they pick. It's a lot of forwards that's on the board too, but some of them we expected to be in this range of will they be first round, will they be second round, or the beginning of the second round, I should say. So some of these guys I'm seeing that they feel is good. I look at like we kind of knew that they'd be in this type of order, or they'll come close to being a first round pick. So some of these guys really have good bodies. They just don't have the shooting touch, the scoring touch, or a good feel for the game or understanding of the game because they didn't play long enough or they wasn't good enough to make a big impact on the teams that they were on, or they didn't show enough either. Drake Powell is off the board now out of North Carolina. So they get another guard. He's legit. You need guys that's going to be pesky. You need guys that's going to try hard and give you a lot of high motor plays. Guys that can play without the basketball is always needed. You're never going to run out of a premium of those type of guys. But did we really get enough for where we for sure on this guy when it comes to longevity in the league? No doubt. We just have to know for sure. And that's something that we're going to see for the Brooklyn Nets. I know he's looking at like, man, there's a lot of guys that's already on this team that's guards that's going to be in front of me. So I still got to be able to be patient. I still got to understand my game and my role on the team. And if the opportunity opens up, I got to show my whole game and really show that I deserve more minutes or more opportunity, or is unwilling to sacrifice that to have the ability to potentially be on a good team in the future, which some people want, some people don't. Like I say, it's a once-in-a-life opportunity to be the superstar. A lot of people want to be the superstar, but do they put the work in and do they have the ability to do it? That's one thing. And another thing is most people fail. And that's the hardest thing to admit. That's the hardest pill to swallow. You had everything. We did everything. Yeah, but if I want a little bit more and I feel like I deserve a little bit more, then I have to put myself in that position to get it. You would too if you had an opportunity. That's what most people say. Well, there's some truth to it. That's why people take that opportunity. And money does come with it. Fame does come with it. Respect does come with it. Recognition comes with it. Legacy enhancing can come with it. And that's why people do take those opportunities and people do take those chances because they want that. That comes with it. So it makes sense why people do. And you can live more comfortably too because you have more money and people want to do that most of the time. And let me work hard when I'm young and I want to do it. And I got passion for it. So let me do that now. And when I get older, I can live more comfortably and I don't really have to force or rush anything or worry about too much because I'm already prepared for it because I already put the work in early. So it depends on what type you're trying to live and what you're trying to accomplish can make you feel that type of way. That's why we call it Gatorade. So the Pelicans then gave up another pick. So we're going to see what the Hawks are going to do at number 23, which is very interesting at the least. We're getting closer to 10 o'clock. Man, they do a whole lot on this draft day, man. I had to literally be prepared for it, knowing I'm gonna have to end this probably on the next day because so many trades are happening, so many teams are trying to build their future and build their present team on the draft day. And it's starting to speed up a little bit. The quicker they can make their decision, the faster the draft can go. But these people ain't trying to rush that moment. I'm actually shaking the commissioner hand. I'm getting welcomed into the NBA. You can't beat that. Can't beat it. The pick is in. So NBA draft reaction and analysis. They really ran with that. They took that from me and ran with it. It's true. Yeah, they know the best analysis on YouTube is the best analysis on Analysis Playground. So the Pelicans get Derek Queen. The Atlanta Hawks get the 23rd pick in the 2025 draft and the 2026 first round pick. Unprotected, most favorable of New Orleans or Milwaukee. So let's make sure that's known why this move is happening. It's still some good players on the board. So if you the Hawks, you're still liking it. Obviously, like I said, they got Porzingis, so they didn't really need Derek Queen that much. And we're going to see if they try to lock up Porzingis or if they're going to just let him go. They have that option. They have that ability to figure that part out this season and seeing how that goes. So Asa Newell is actually off the board now out of Georgia. He got selected. He's a development project. He showed a little bit, and that's why he was in this range of the draft where he's still better than a lot of other players that you can pick. He has upside like the other players also. But at the same time, we know that he's a work in progress, and that's not a bad thing. All the teams that's drafting right now are trying to find a way back to the playoffs, trying to find a way back to getting depth and guys that they can trust with the ball and getting guys they can trust as a teammate. And he's one of those guys that can be that. You know what I mean? He definitely can be a winner for you. He's a guy that is very unselfish and very humble. So he can be a good pick for them. It just makes sense, to get the best player you can get once you already have your starters figured out, like the Pelicans and other teams that's around them do. You just want to go with the guy that can help you as much as they can. And if you can't get that guy, you just try to open up some cap space in free agency to find that void. But you rather do it with younger players because these teams are young. So it just makes sense to go with somebody that has the upside to grow with you. And that's what they ended up doing right here. Offensive rebound, relentless effort. Can't teach that. Either you want it or you don't. Either you got it or you don't. That's how it be. But other than that, it just makes a lot of sense for them to go in that direction. You can't hear me. I think the voice should be on there. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Just saying the mic is on. So hopefully you can hear me now if you couldn't hear me before. But the guy gives multiple efforts. So that's something that you have to want. And we've seen a lot of those type of guys have success in the league. Kenneth Faried and Montrezl Harrell, those type of guys spent multiple years in the league, and they took a lot of people's spots because they played so hard and they wanted it so much. And those guys became legitimate starters or rotation players for multiple years, even on good teams. And those guys are needed. So it makes sense why they went with them and they got them. But it makes a lot of sense for him to go. You know, E. Meesey is another guy that was like that too. And he ended up becoming one of the best rookies last year. So that's what you hope. Obviously, if you get a guy like that, the Thunder, should be illegal to have a 68 win team and you get another good pick that adds more depth for your team and it's going to be on a cheap contract and it's going to be a solid rotation player because they do so much of a good job scouting and making sure that they getting the player that they want, even if they foreign. So they already knew they wanted because their pick is already in, showing you that they're all over it. Shout out to Sam Presti. Shout out to Clay Bennett. A well-run organization, great culture, and they really can do some things like repeating easily because they have enough to get whatever they need and whatever they want, to, even in the middle of the season when trade deadline is around. And that helps you stay at the top as long as you can. I'm a guy that got to the top and I was happy and I was blessed, but I don't mind getting back there because I ain't going to stop until I do. And they understand that mentality because they just won a championship 3 days ago. And now they're already putting in work to try to do it again 3 days later. And you got to love it. You got to respect it. So this pick is going to be traded. So it makes sense. Like, it looks like the Thunder will be getting rid of this pick. They got so many roster spots, only 15, I believe, is the most you can have. So they do eventually have to start cutting players, or they do eventually have to start trading players just because their roster spot is damn near full already. So Neat Clifford is off the board. Nobody really had him going at 24 or lower. So he was one of those guys that we knew could be moved in this direction or in this position. So it's not really a shocker, but he's been shaking everybody's hand, showing everybody love, showing everybody support. Now he's off the board. So that's good that he was a first round pick. I'm not really shocked that he went in the top 30 with top 29. He is one of the better players on the board, so makes sense that he's gone. He also had a growth spurt, really helped him. Obviously, you got to figure out how to dribble a little bit better. You got to figure out how to use that height and that length to your advantage when you get taller and you get a growth spurt. That takes some clumsiness and some goofiness to gain, and then you have to find a way to lose it when you're going against high level competition like you do in college. Like I said, I'm not really a big college person. I feel like you're learning more in high school if you're going to be one of those guys. And if you figure that out in high school, you only go on 1 year in college. So it's usually how the coach utilize you and how they play with you and how they use the teammates around you. But he figured it out. So he's definitely a pro. I don't know if he is a 10-year guy. That's the biggest question for him. I think that's something that we're going to have to see. Is a lot of guys in this draft that's doing the same thing or have the same ability. He was in a different situation than other guys, so that makes you look better. But can you do that at the NBA level? Will you have the opportunity at the NBA level? That's going to be the question for him. Is he going to be willing to come off the bench and get buckets? Is he going to be willing to embrace not being the starter? Because if you're going to any of these teams, he won't be. That's something that he didn't have to really worry about in college too much, but it's something that may not be reality at all at the NBA level. And he can get buckets, he can play, but at the same time, we just gonna have to see if that's gonna be the reality of his situation at the NBA level. Other than that, the guy can ball out. The guy can really put the ball in the basket. The guy really understands how to play the game and how to impact the game in multiple ways at the position that he plays. But like I said, a lot of that is situational. So his situation is going to be a lot different at the pro level. So some of those opportunities and some of those chances are just not going to be reality for him in the start of his career. Things can change if he becomes a free agent. Things can change, obviously at the pro level too. But the guy got the body, he got the touch. He just got to put all that together and accept the role first, and then we'll see what he can be in the future in the NBA level, especially if he can stay healthy. The Orlando Magic, this is going quick. They already got their pick in. It didn't take them that long, so I'm just going to skip some stuff I was going to say just because I got to focus on the next team. The Magic have a lot of talent. Let's not lie. I love the Desmond Bain trade. I've been working with the Magic on that, and I'm looking at it like, man, they have a lot of great players and they already know how to play defense as a young team. They even gave my Celtics some trouble. And that just shows you how good of a level that they are already at without Desmond Bain. And now they plugging them in there, a guy that can rebound, handle the ball, pass, playing the pick and roll, shoot a three, get to the mid range, get to the basket, hit free throws, and a guy that's not scared of the big moments. And then they already have Paulo Banchero, who's an all-star caliber player. They already have Franz Wagner, who's one of the best players in the league also. And Wendell Carter is probably the weakest spot, but he's still better than all the centers in his draft. So you still have to figure out a way to give him a quality backup. And other than that, you're still looking at Jalen Suggs. Hope he gets healthy. He's a good defender. He's a good three-point shooter. He can play on and off the ball, and he can find his teammates within the system. He has to play a little bit more setup than he usually does, but that's only because he just a guy that used to be a good two guard that they're trying to mold into a point guard. Take some time, take some learning, take some experience to be able to do that successfully. And since the Magic might be around for 5 to 7 years, it just makes sense for him to figure it out now. And Desmond Bain is a guy that can set you up or you can set him up, and he let that thing fly all the time. So he fits what they're trying to do and what they need to do, because Jalen Suggs can be a guy that can let it fly too. And that's what makes them a good team, especially if Paulo and Franz can make the threes. I think that will help them a lot too. And that's something that they got to continue to work on, and something they got to continue to push themselves to be good at. Like I said, the hardest thing in the game is to learn how to shoot. If you can find somebody that can shoot, and you find somebody that can shoot, especially from three, especially off the dribble, you found gold in this league. And most of the best players in the world, especially the top 5, top 10 players, can do both. They can hit the mid range, they can get to the basket, and they can hit that three. If you can find somebody that can be a 3-level scorer while still being a great playmaker, you found gold. That's all I can say. And the Magic are about to select Chase Richardson. So, Jason Richardson's son. We knew he'd be off the board. Some people had him going in the top 20. I was lower on him, not because he's bad. It's just so many shooting guards in this draft, to be honest. It's just too many of them. And it's been like that the last, 5, 6 drafts. So we're getting more and more guards as really just, and I said even with some teams, even like Orlando, like he might be the 9th, 10th guy. But the thing about it is you lose Cole Anthony, and now you get Jace Richardson. That's how you got to look at it. Like, we lost one of our best guards off the bench. Now we replace him with a guy that's going to make $2-3 million at most, and he's going to try to play hard defensively. He's going to try to show that he belongs. He's going to try to show that he's a good player. We use that as fuel to the fire, and then that helps us out for 2-3 years. And since we got Desmond Bain, who's already a guard too, and Jalen Suggs, who's already a guard, at least we know if one of those guys go to the bench, we got another guy we can just plug in there and get some combo-ness from. And that's what Jace Richardson is going to bring to the table. That's what he's going to give you. And that makes perfect sense. So it's a good pick for them. Other than that, the Nets are back on the board. They have a lot of guys they can pick from. They can get a big now. They waited a lot later. Like I said, I'm not a Nicholas Claxton type of guy. I feel like he is a guy that's fast. He is quick. He can finish, but he can be replaced. And you should want a guy on a better contract, even though his contract is tradable. But I just feel like they can get somebody that's just better at that center position will help them in the future. I like to comment for them. They didn't go for him, but he still ended up getting picked right after that. I think that that's something that they should have done, but now they're just looking for more guys that they have abundance of, and that's all you're going to find in this range is more guards and more wings, which they have already figured out even in the starting lineup. So I don't really know who they go for at 26 right now. You're just going to pick best talent available and just live with that decision at the end of the day. So I think that makes a lot of sense for them at this point, because this is what they have and this is what they're going to be left with. But I don't really think it's going to take them too long to pick out who they want because the best players are gone. They're already off the table. They're already gone. So now you're just trying to find the guy that you feel is going to give you the best value. The best bang for your buck is what you're looking at right now. So I don't really think that nobody is going to really take the full 4 minutes to be able to take whoever they want, because it's nuts. A lot of these guys you can take in the second round because most people ain't going to be pouncing on them because they're going to feel like, I'd rather just get this guy. I'd rather just get this guy. I'd rather just get this guy. And I would say it's the right mentality because that's why they still on the board. No disrespect. But it's the truth. Like some of these guys been in this range, and some of them gonna be in the second round too. So you just gotta hit or miss. You know, is either this player is gonna be one of our rotation players, even in the future, or we're just selecting this guy because we have to. That's just how the end of the first round and going into the second round be. A lot of these guys, you're not fully sure on yourself. You're just making this selection because you have to. And it's the truth. But some of these guys still deserve to be in the league. They still deserve to make a name for themselves because they put the work in. For you to even be interested, for you to even want them, for you to even consider them, they had to put their name in that box. And since it's in that box, you can select the chocolate that you want. And it might not be the one that you wanted to taste the most, but it's the one that you have to eat because it's that, or you get nothing. Now, you can choose to get nothing by trading that pick and getting a veteran, or trading that pick and getting cash, but you also don't want to give up on guys that can potentially help you either. And that's the duality of how you have to think if you're a GM or your organization trying to get out of a hole or trying to continue to be a good team for as long as you can be. And we know how hard it is. The Spurs done did it. The Lakers done did it. The Celtics done did it. The Warriors have done it. But look at what you have to give up and look at all the players you have to go through just to find a way to be back relevant and good again. That's why it's so difficult. But then again, that's how the game always been. So it's not really anything that's new. So the pick is in for the Nets. Let's see who they go for. They already took a foreigner. They already took another one. And now they still got back-to-back picks. And that should be fun because you should know who you want now and you can get the other one next. So these players that's left on the board. Some of them, honestly, I got going in the second round. So they go a little bit before that. It wouldn't be a shocker. So a lot of the players that's left on the clock on the clock are still guys that can still potentially help you 2 to 3 years from now. I would say Hugo Gonzalez, the Gonzalez people out there, they got one possibly making it to the NBA. So we know a lot of people that have been showing love to the Gonzalez's, sleeping with the Gonzalez's. And they had a whole lot of fun. Do your thing. So it's 10 o'clock. We've been grinding for 3 hours. As crazy as that may seem, that's how quick that has been. Man, 3 hours. And we're not even in the second round yet. And it's already officially 3 hours. Man, that's crazy. So they take another guy with a lot of potential, but I doubt he can help you right now. But the team is so young, can you blame him? So Ben is off the board out of Israel. He's a guard. The Nets fans seem like they're excited. They don't really know what's going on. They don't really know who this guy is. And another guard taken off the board was my whole point of it. There's so many guards in the league that the draft is just adding more of them. And it's like, is these guys even going to be in the league 2 to 3 years from now? Honestly, it's just so many of them. And just look at the ones that's still free agents, and free agency hasn't even technically started yet. And look at the ones that's already been traded, like Drew Holiday and Desmond Bane, like I said, and them starters that's getting traded. We already done seen Con Knipple get picked. We already done seen Trey Johnson get picked. Jeremiah Fears get picked. And now we got even more. It's not even the second round yet. And guess what the second round is full of? More guards. And it's just insane. I mean, guys are usually going to be 6 feet or above. And if you got a chance to hoop and you can make a layup, you can make a free throw, and you can possibly make a 3 at 36 or above, you getting paid in the league, man. I ain't gonna lie to my fans. If you can do those 3 things, especially if you're gonna compete defensively because you don't want to get embarrassed, which is what you should do, you can make $3-5 million easily. Problem is, can you beat out all the competition that's might be ahead of you or the spot that you might have to earn? You gotta look forward to doing something in life. The odds of you making millions is low in this world, but not in the NBA. I might be selling some false hope to my subscribers and to the people that might check out this video, but there's a lot of people in this world. If you can hit a 3 and you can play defense and you can rebound, if you can do all that, you're a superstar. Because most superstars can do 5 things. People think it's somebody that can fill up the arena. You only filling up that arena if your team winning. If your team ain't winning, nobody coming to see it. If you can do 5 things on the court, then you is a superstar in this league, because it's hard to do those things at a high level. If you can shoot a 3, make a layup or a dunk or make a free throw and defend and also pass, you already have a good chance of being an all-star, because most people can't do that many things. I done seen a lot of people that couldn't even do the simple things, and they already had the size and the athleticism. I done played against guys that's my height, and they couldn't even do 3 things, but they can do just enough to make it to the league if they cared enough about it and they locked in and focused on it. And we're seeing that a lot. Most people that is going to college and they playing 1 year and they're just going based off what they seen in high school in that 1 year of college, they're still getting drafted and it's not even the second round. No hate. I'm just stating the facts. And now you seeing the Brooklyn Nets, who already have a lot of guards already. And like I said, I was just talking about Cam Thomas the other day. I made a video about that. You looking forward to getting paid, and look at all these guards they drafted. They look at that like, do we really want to pay Cam Thompson 15? Well, Cam Thomas 15 to 20 million. Do we really want to do that? We pay you 10 million, we pay you 15 million. I don't know, we pay you more than that because we can always find another guard that can get us 20, give him 35 minutes, put the ball in his hand, he'll figure it out. Most of these guys know how to play the game at a high level. You know, it's just, can you do it at the NBA level? But some people want you to play with the ball in your hand. Some teams want you to play with the ball out of your hands. I'm not going to tell you which team is which because all of them going to change their coaches and GMs one day. But that's one thing you do have to have in the back of your head. But the Brooklyn Nets, their pick is in. Like I said, the more you got to wait, the more is on your mind, the more dwelling you do. It's part of the game, man. But just as long as you get drafted is all that matters because most people don't. So Danny Wolf, the forward, is off the board. He was just stressing, just going crazy. But they do need a guy like Danny Wolf. So you probably thought that he would be on the board. That's why they had to pick before this. Like, I don't know why they went for another guard, but it didn't matter because they had the next pick too. But he's off the board. Everybody's having joy and everybody's having fun. He's obviously one of the best wing forwards on the board, especially that you can pick. And now he is no longer available unless you trade for him. But he slid and he's gone now. So all that waiting and all that stress and all that pressure that he had to want to be drafted, especially in the first round, is now off his shoulder. They so proud of him. They so happy for him, as they should be. Out of Michigan. So, you know, he can rebound. You know, he's going to take smart shots and play within the flow of the system and then flow of the offense. And at least, you know, he can give you close to a double-double at the college level. I doubt he's able to do it at the NBA level. He's just a little too slow. But you can use your mind. If you can mind bend, that can be your biggest weapon against guys that's just ruthless or, you know, in a rush. So if you boxing out and you do the fundamentals like Tim Duncan, for example, or Thiago Splitter, for example, you can still beat the teams and the players with your mind. And that's what he's going to have to continue to do if he wants to be a high impact role player off the bench for a team. But I would say he's really good at understanding the game and reading the game the right way, putting in those situations. And I think once the Nets continue to enhance their roster, it's going to make his job easier. And that's what he needs to be able to eat in this league. And every team going to find players in this area of the draft with a lot of flaws. And like I said, if you're a guy that can do multiple things and do multiple things at a high level, you would have been off the board. Now it's just about finding somebody that can fit a role, fit a need, or fit something that other guys don't really want to do on their roster. Well, since you're not going to do it, we're just going to find another person that do it. Like if you're a superstar, you're going to figure out to do everything that's needed to be able to help your team win. That's your goal. That's what you try to do each and every night. And all those guys with that type of upside and that type of potential and that type of style is gone already. So now, like I said, the Celtics, they looking at like this guy going, this guy going, this guy going, this guy not going, this guy is gone. So we're going to look at it like we only can get this guy. And we're going to be happy with this guy because we like him better than this guy and this guy. And that's just how the first and the ending of it in the second round goes. Like, this is all we get. We're cool with that. We done seen people say, well, we want the number one pick. Well, that's going to be the best player you can get in the entire draft, most likely. Sometimes it's not because every draft is different and every draft has so much different type of players in it. So you still have to look at it like what makes this player more special than the other ones. And hopefully when we get this player, he can have a great bill of health. But so Hugo Gonzalez is off the board. Not a real shocker. Some people had him going in the second round at the beginning of it. Like I said, if that happens, he would be one of the best players you can pick at the beginning of the second round. But he ended up sneaking into that first round at 28. Not a surprise to me. He's definitely one of the better players in the draft. Like I said, this is a draft where a lot of these guys can't play. Like, you're not really making a right or a wrong decision at this point of the draft. You're just drafting what your team really needs at the moment and just having guys that can come in and play. But we haven't seen a crazy amount of Hugo Gonzalez. We haven't really seen him dominate. We haven't really seen him take over. We haven't really seen him do anything crazy. We just seen the signs of what he can be and what he can do at his size, and it's already rare what he can do. But it's also a situation where we look at it like, will he be really good in this league, or will he just be good enough? That's the way you have to look at a Hugo Gonzalez, and that's the way you're going to be looking at a lot of these players in this area of the draft. Like, they're good, but we just couldn't get great. But we still need good players too. Somebody gets injured, somebody gets tired. Let's plug in this guy. We know what he can do in this area of the court. People forget this is a team sport. We need other guys that can set screens, other guys that can rebound, other guys that can protect the rim. If you can't do it, we got other guys on this court that can do it. Let's patch this boat up a little bit and get it to float that direction. And we can turn around and get that direction, or we can just get it there, sell that boat, and get a different one. And that's the way that you have to look at it when you're in that first round at the end of it. Phoenix, I don't think it's going to take them that long to figure out what they're going to do, because this trade is going to the Charlotte Hornets. So, I mean, this pick is going to the Charlotte Hornets. So I think that looking at this, the Hornets, they need somebody with high potential. They need somebody that can really come in and really do a lot of things for them, because they're a team that most people ain't running to and most people ain't really trying to go to. But I do look at it like it's some guys on this board that can help them. It's just what position is they really looking forward to, or what position are they really trying to go to? Because they got rid of Mark Williams, who was one of their best starters. We hear rumors that they want to get rid of LaMelo Ball, but I don't think that that's really making any sense, since that would just be putting them in a worse situation than they are already in. Like, they already was one of the worst teams in the league the last couple of years on top of that. So now they're trying to right the ship. So this was a good way to be able to do it. Now it just depends on what you're trying to do at this position. So I think that they pick should be up quick. Shouldn't take that long to figure out what they're trying to do. Now is about who they big man is going to be. They got some already on the board right now that they can still take. Ryan Maxey is both from Stanford and Creighton. If they want to take a big, they have some wings that they can also take that can possibly be ready to go right now, or just they have to look at it like we might not get anything better, and we might as well just go ahead and get what we can get. And you gotta look at it that way too, because these players are once in a lifetime that they can start with your franchise. Do you want that to happen, or do you not want it to happen that way? The Hugo Gonzalez's of the world. So we also looking at dude Chaz out of Tennessee and Arkansas. They have them on the board. Tyrese out of Duke. Markovic out of Serbia on the board. Kobe out of Kentucky. Noah out of France. Another France player might be able to go in the first round. We done seen that the last couple of drafts. They still have a chance to make that happen if they want to. The Phoenix Suns, like I said, it wasn't going to take them that long to get their pick in. It actually is in already. So that makes a lot of sense. And now we're going to see what direction they're going to go in with this pick. Charlotte done got a lot of their picks wrong. I don't know how some guys were so obvious that they should take it. They still messed around and took somebody else. I don't get it. But they have a chance to add somebody to their culture. These are some of the biggest moments in the NBA. Adam Silver with the pick. Liam McNeely is off the board out of UConn. Some people had him going in this area, so not really a shocker. He's a good pick for him. He's a good pick. He's one of those guys that you can say, I need you to do this, I need you to do that when you're on the basketball court. And you don't really have to worry about him doing nothing less than that. And you can't really say that for a lot of players. But at least you know that he's going to come in and do what he needs to do when he's on the court. And role players are important to winning. They're important to keeping everybody sane. And they're important to winning. And at least they're getting a guy that they feel that can do those things for them. They getting accepted into the NBA. One of the hardest things to do. So I like when they're doing, we're going to that 30th pick almost, because this is what we hear with the 30th pick. Now we just got to see who it's going to be. Fleming's on the board. Clippers, they need another piece on that bench. They already got James Harden. They already got Kawhi Leonard. They already got Zubac. They already got a lot of players that can help them. Even Norman Powell, who's really been good for them, close to being an all-star this year. Obviously, they don't really mind adding a player that they can just plug in and say, we just need you to do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, and we hood on that decision. It's enjoy it and let all the emotions come out, let all that love and that passion come out. Because this is a lot of things that you have to do to get to this point. Most people don't, like you said, y'all four made it. The other people in high school on that high school team didn't. Y'all a big four. The other didn't get that far. That's how hard it is to make it. If you're good in high school and we can see what you can do, most likely you have a good chance of making it to the NBA. But that's their whole team still didn't get there yet. And they went 1 year and done, basically. That's how good they were. That's how we knew that they can come in and make a contribution to the NBA, make the NBA more diverse, make the NBA more beautiful by adding more young talent to it that can really help in the present and in the future. So just let it out, man. It's your goal. This is what you wanted to do. This is what you wanted to be. This is what you wanted to accomplish. And you did everything you needed to do in your power to make it poppin', to make it happen. So you got to cry, just let it out, because most people don't get this far. Most people don't have this goal accomplished. Most people can't do this. And you're blessed to be one of the people that are. This is just how it's supposed to be. That's how people got to look at it. Like, this was supposed to happen. This was supposed to be what it is, because that's why it actually is reality for us to watch it and see it and share this moment with you. Clippers pick is in. So makes sense for them to have theirs ready. Like I said, everybody should already know who they're going with, because either you can get the guy already, or you didn't get the guy, or you're not getting the guy that you wanted, so you're just getting the guy anyway. That's how the first round at the end of it works. That's how the second round going to be too. We couldn't get our guy. We already got our guy. We got to get a guy just because we have to. Like I said, you can take cash and just not too many teams got cap space, so you can't really do that in this draft, even though their contracts are not going to be that crazy anyway in this position of the draft. But this should be interesting who they go with this 30th pick. Clippers did win 50 games. Kawhi Leonard only played like 34 of them, showing you how deep and how tough that team is to beat with or without them. So adding to this team is something that's a must. And I know Ty Lue and that coaching staff really want to give it one more shot and see if they can win it. They win 7 games with Denver, so they looking at it like they gave OKC some trouble. Obviously, styles make matchups, and you feel like you match up good against OKC. We can compete with that team. We can have some type of success against them if we can stay healthy for a majority of the season, if not all of it. And that's the way the Clipper fans and the organization should be looking at it at this point of where they're at as an organization and as a team. So they got the 30th pick and the 51st pick. So they don't really need nothing crazy. You got a lot of players still on board, and it is a couple guards and wings that's still on the board. Some of them not going to really be able to do too much, but that's why Chaz is on the board. Like I said, Tyrese is on the board if you want to go with a guy that's more developed enough to help you in this type of situation, which they do need. But that would be it. If they want to get a big or a wing, then those would be the first ones you wouldn't look at. So let's see what the Clippers are going to do. So they're going to go with a center. So that's something that is really cool to see. He got to get that body right, though, if he's going to be a legitimate player in this league for a long period of time. Just take it day by day, year by year. All you can try to do. He forgot to grab the hat. He was so ready to meet Adam Silver because it's a once-in-a-lifetime moment. He forgot to grab that hat. Yeah, but he's one of the best bigs you can get in this draft. Legitimate size, legitimate athleticism, and he's really can be a monster defensively probably in the future. The Clippers got another good piece to the puzzle. You want to fill that puzzle out as much as you can. First round over. We go into the second round tomorrow. So I'll see y'all tomorrow for the second round of the draft. I'm excited. I already did my mock draft, so y'all can check that out on my channel. We'll be doing the draft tomorrow. If it's meant for me to see it, I upload every single day that I'm living. So if you love basketball content, you can't get enough. This is the channel for you. Not only that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more analysis. And if you're new to the channel, I also got over 3,000 videos that y'all can watch and y'all can enjoy. If y'all love the game of basketball, this is the channel that you have to be supporting. If not, you're crazy. But of course, I'm going to say that. Other than that, y'all stay blessed up. Hope you guys enjoyed y'all weekday so far. We at the hump day of it, almost going into Thursday, which means the weekend is almost here, as quick as that can be and as fast as that can happen. I will also say the draft was good. There's a lot of trades, a lot of young players getting moved around. They seen how the business side of it can be. Some of these contenders got deeper. Some of the young teams made their future brighter. And some of these guys put in so much work to get to this point, to be able to be blessed to play in the NBA. Tough goal to have, tough goal to achieve, but you got to give them a lot of love and a lot of support for being able to put their lives to the grind of being great at this game. That gave them the showcase ability that they had to do what they do on the normal basis of their life on the court. And I love it. I enjoy it. And I couldn't wait to spend some of my life giving time to these players to enjoy their moment of being drafted into the NBA. But I would say, man, dreams come true. Now you can stop dreaming and now you can make a reality what you want it to be now since you made it. Keep working hard, keep staying focused, stay locked in, keep grinding, and know that you can get even better. You can push yourself even further, and you can ultimately become a champion or an all-star or a Hall of Famer backed by the way your career goes. And that should be the ultimate goal at the NBA level, is to just make it come full circle by the end of it. And it's crazy now. The draft is on 2 different days, but man, 3 hours of grinding made me continue to go because I had to see everybody getting picked because I love the NBA that much and I love basketball that much. And it took so much of my life. And I'm just glad that I can spend it with the people that wanted to watch what I had to say or care what I had to say about this draft in this day. And it's a glorious day for the game of basketball too, adding so many young players that can change the NBA and how we watch it, how we see it, how we play it, and how we think about it. So other than that, let's continue to try to make 2025 a better year than 2015. That's the only goal of this channel. That should be fun. That should be something that we should be excited about. I'm going as hard as I can. I'm being as consistent as I can be. This is one of the most consistent years I have ever had on YouTube. And I look at it as something I want to continue and I want to keep doing. And other than that, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for getting to it when y'all get to it. Thank y'all for making time for me. Thank y'all for continuing to appreciate the content for what it is and continuing to love this channel for the content that I can make. That's a 50-50 reason why the channel is still around. Y'all love what I make and I love making it for y'all. And that's the reason why this channel has been so successful over 10 plus years, because of that main reason and because of that main drive that I have to continue to crank out more different type of content each and every day. And I do conversation videos just like this. I also do breakdowns with real footage of legends, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. And like I said, I do mock draft and draft coverage in general. If you love that type of stuff, I ain't got much to tell you that you need to be supporting this channel, man. And thank y'all for who supported it in the past, the present, and also in the future, whether it was watching, whether it was even buying merchandise or whatever you did to get the boy Quinn Wade name out there more, and continuing to subscribe and stay subscribed is all I can ask you guys to continue to do. And most of you guys do all these things anyway. So that's why I got love and so much support for y'all. Me, y'all, and YouTube is the trinity of why this channel going to stay successful, because whenever I don't need or whatever I do need, you guys going to do it anyway, or YouTube is going to do it, or I'm going to find a way to do it on YouTube. And that's all that needs to continue to happen for this channel to continue to be supported and relevant. Other than that, y'all have a blessed one. Y'all stay blessed up. going for now, and I will have more content on the way as quickly as I can. So much more free agency news, summer league coming up, preseason stuff, tributes, breakdowns, and I got it all coming for y'all, and y'all should be happy that I do, and more so y'all usually are. Other than that, peace out. Going for now. See y'all hopefully tomorrow.